The Super Bowl aspirations of the Minnesota Vikings have been rekindled the last 2 weeks. Jeff George is the new starting quarterback and has established immediate rapport with Randy Moss.
Jeff George stumbled a bit, throws long, Randy Moss, caught, touchdown Vikings.
Chris Carter provides another option.
Back he goes, pump fake, now goes to the end zone, caught, touchdown Chris Carter. Just like that, Jeff George takes him 80 yards for a touchdown.
They're one of those guys that, it's a quarterback's dream. That's one of the reasons why I decided to come here in the offseason.
Jeff George has jump-started a potent offense.
Here they come. George backpedaling and throws into the left corner, wide open. Chris Carter, touchdown Minnesota.
After wins over the 49ers and Broncos, Jeff George tonight faces a major test as he works against the Dallas secondary, spearheaded by Deion Sanders.
It's going to be exciting because the ball's going to be flying around.
The Metrodome could see more action than a pinball machine tonight as the Minnesota Vikings go up against the Dallas Cowboys. A compelling midseason matchup ahead on ABC's Monday Night Football. How bizarre has this season been in the NFL? Well, on this 8th night of November, people in Minneapolis come inside to cool off. It was 77 in Minneapolis today, 65 under the big top at the Metrodome as the Vikings take on the Dallas Cowboys. Al Michaels with Boomer Esiason and Leslie Visser. Very big game for both teams tonight. The Cowboys started the season 3-0, but they've lost 3 of their last 4. All on the road, all in games they could have won, and they try to rebound tonight, and it's going to be tough because the Vikings are a team a lot of people thought were the best in the conference coming into the season, but they began 2-4, made a quarterback switch. Now it's Jeff George, and they think they have righted the ship. And Dennis Green thinks this is a team about ready to go on a roll. The Vikings and the Cowboys, a great matchup tonight in Minneapolis, coming up on Monday Night Football. And the crowd getting ready for the start of the game, but around the National Football League this weekend, there has been a moment of silence before each of the games in the memory of Walter Payton, who died last Monday. And right now, let's join the public address announcer here at the Metrodome.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join the Vikings and Cowboys in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Walter Payton, the NFL's all-time leading rusher and a hero for the ages. Thank you.
All right, the Vikings getting set to take on the Cowboys. Let's go down to the field and Leslie Visser. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Alan Boomer. Well, Denny Green was coaching at Northwestern when Walter was playing very close to him, a tremendous loss. But Denny, for tonight, last week you built momentum against Denver. What do you have to do tonight to keep this going?
I think we got to really play some great run defense. That's what it's going to come down to. A guy like Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith's going to get the ball 30, 35 times. Like Walter, he's a warrior. We're going to have to really stop him. We're going to have to stack up to do it.
It'll be a tough assignment. Thanks a lot, Denny. Back to you, Al.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Mitch Berger, who is the leading punter in the league, is the Viking kickoff man, and he'll send it down to the deep men for the Cowboys, Kevin Mathis, and that is Jeff Ogden. The Metrodome is noisy a venue as there is in the National Football League. And in full roar at the outset of the game as it's dropped at the 2, collected at the 8-yard line by Mathis, and then he's tackled at the 13, and the flag comes in. Rob Holmberg makes the tackle, so right off the bat, referee Walt Coleman will make the first call of the game. And that will push the Cowboys back even farther as Joe Avizano, the special teams coach, watches his unit.
Illegal block in the back.
Here in the return, 96. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Certainly not the way you want to start if you're the Dallas Cowboys, especially in this part of the field, Al. How loud it is. Troy Aikman is going to have to be on his game. He's going to have to be sharp and very careful in this part of the field this early in the game.
11th year in the league. Troy Aikman, the #1 pick in the 1989 draft. Smith and Thomas in the backfield. Ismail and Mills outside. Before the tight end, Adams, Allen, Stepnoski, MacGyver, and Williams, the offensive front. Strength on the left side. Aikman to throw on first down, and it's a low pass at the feet of Jason Tucker, their third wideout. He's covered by Chris Rogers. Now let's take a look at the Minnesota Viking defensive unit. Randall, Ball, Williams, and Chris Dolman, who had retired after last season, is back. Wong, McDaniel, and Rudd are the linebackers. The secondary, a rookie, Kenny Wright, along with Hitchcock, and in the hard-hitting, Griffith and Orlando Thomas. There was an offside against the Minnesota Vikings, offside against the Vikings, so there was no play. It is so loud nobody can hear a whistle. And so there was no play, and it's first down and 5 for the Cowboys up at the 11-yard line. They start with Emmett Smith, and Smith picks up 3 to the 14, and Boomer Emmett's always been a workhorse, never more so than this year. He's averaging 25 carries a game.
You know, it's really amazing. Talking to Changeli yesterday, he told us that that's obviously a very high number, and for a guy who's in his 10th year and has carried the ball as many times as he has carried, they have to be careful. But he feels like as the season goes on, you know, there'll some games where he'll get 18, 19 carries, so they are definitely going to carry him tonight. One of the interesting things, Al, however, is the Cowboys came out in a 3-receiver set, and the reason they do that is to try to get the rookie defensive backs on the field, a matchup that they like.
Second down and 2. The fake to Smith. That buys time for Aikman going deep. Up at the 36-yard line. So they go deep to the rocket off the play fake, tackled by Hitchcock, a 22-yard gain.
Now, one of the reasons I was talking in the opening that the Cowboys should come out and throw the football is because the Viking pass defense is 29th at a 31 in the league. And you can see how much room Hitchcock is given right here. And this defense of the Minnesota Vikings is so concerned about Emmitt Smith. A lot of play-action pass and 3 wide receivers, as we see right now, is going to be the key for them to win. And Troy's going to have to be on the money.
3 wideouts here. Tucker is the 3rd wideout. They give it to Smith. And he is dragged down by McDaniel. Right off the top, too, Boomer, we should talk about Troy Aikman, who took a vicious helmet-to-helmet hit from Jeff Burris on a blitz last week in the Indianapolis game. Had to come out for a series. Had an MRI. That was okay. They're not saying it was a concussion.
No.
But talking to him before the game, he said he's been a little woozy this week.
Yeah, he said he had some headaches, and I told him, look, the first day of practice you get headaches, and that's just the way it is in the life in the NFL, especially for quarterbacks. You're going to get hit, you're going to be groggy, but he's a tough guy. He's out there and he wants to play. Changeli said he had a great week of practice, so look for him to be sharp.
Second down and 7 up at the 39-yard line on a drive that began back at the Dallas 6. And Aikman throws, and that one is caught, pulled in by Ernie Mills. Good slip move, 2 of them, in fact, and a broken tackle, and he takes it to the 40. Got out of the grasp of the rookie Kenny Wright.
This is one of the things that the Cowboys are going to try to do, is exploit the rookies in the defensive backfield, and when they go to 3 wide receivers again, the defense of the Vikings will match up, and they'll bring in another rookie, number 29, Chris Rogers. Right here, you know, being a rookie and being a DB in this league is not very easy. And when you're a quarterback and you're an offensive coordinator, that's where you want to go. That's the weakness of the defense. Not that he's not a great player, but he's still unsure of himself.
First down at the 40-yard line. Back to the ground. And it's a well-conceived opening drive as Emmitt Smith picks up 8. Kenny Wright makes the tackle. It'll be second and short.
Al, last year the Minnesota Vikings offense was so great that this defense really didn't have to do much. And when the offense started to sputter this year, you start realizing what your deficiencies are. The Vikings were so desperate for defensive linemen that they go out and get Chris Dolman, Jerry Ball, and Joe Phillips. Older guys. There's Foge Fazio, the defensive coordinator. You can sense that this defense is not very good at tackling and certainly isn't very good at covering downfield.
Second and a short 3. And this is Emmitt Smith, and it's a league-wide lament as a flag comes in at the end of the play. All of the defensive coaches talking about the absence of good tackling this year. Dwayne Rudd made that last hit. The penalty will be against the Vikings, and so either way, Dallas gets a first down.
You know, when you have older guys on the defensive line, Al, they wear down at the end of the game, especially if your offense is not putting up the points that you're used to seeing. And right now, the Vikings defense has been that way.
Defense, number 56. Penalty is declined. First down.
Vikings with 19 guys, as you just saw, 30 or older, and several of those are over 35.
And what's amazing is around the league, everybody tries to get younger. Everybody wants younger, faster, quicker, cheaper players. And the Vikings feel like they have a possible Super Bowl offense here. Let's get some guys in here that know how to do it, but certainly they haven't been able to tackle thus far tonight.
Smith gets an early breather, and Warren, the leading ground gainer in the history of the Seahawks, who came over a couple of years ago, takes the ball to the 24. Chris picks up 3, and now Emmitt will come back into the game. Kylie Wong made the last tackle. Maybe Emmitt won't come back into the game.
You asked Denny Green yesterday why the reason for all the older players, and I think when you just look at the wide receiver position here in Minnesota, you know why. You have such a talented, explosive guy like Randy Moss, and then you have two guys like Jake Reed and Chris Carr to kind of help him along a little bit. And Denny says he likes that type of relationship between his players.
Thinks that's the perfect mix. Second down and 7 from the 24. This is the game's opening drive. Aikman over the middle, and it's dropped. It was right into the hands of LaFleur, the tight end at the 15-yard line. Going to him a little bit more as the weeks have gone by. A perfect opportunity there for a first down. Instead, it's third down.
Well, not bad coverage by Dwayne Rudd, number 57. Troy throws it in there. Now, LaFleur knows the safety is coming. Here he comes. And when number 42, Orlando Thomas, is going to hit you, or Robert Griffith, number 24, you have to be aware of that. But as every coach will tell you, Al, catch it. It hurts either way.
Yes. Ninth play of the drive coming. Dallas going with 5 wideouts. This is the first third down play of the drive on 3rd and 7. Vikings send 6, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Warren. Covered by Rudd. 4th down, and you're looking at about a 43-yard field goal attempt.
Not a bad offensive series for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't necessarily know that I try to throw it to Warren against Rudd. That's really not the matchup. You have to find those rookie defensive backs. Ernie Mills and Rocket Ismail can handle those guys, but you can see that Troy was just wanting to get rid of it and not take a sack.
Richie Cunningham not having a very good year, 5 for 10. And this will be a 42-yard attempt. Eric Bjornsson will spot it at the 32-yard line. Low snap, but Bjornsson gets it down, and this kick is no good. He missed it to the left. And so in a league where about 80% of field goal attempts are successful, Cunningham is now 5 of 11. And the Dallas drive dies with nothing to show for it. Vikings to get it at the 32 when we come back. TV coverage. First down Minnesota from the 33 after the missed field goal attempt. Dion lining up on the right side defensively. Jeff George first down. Dion lined up against Jake Reed one-on-one, and they begin on the ground, and they give it to Leroy Horde. And he pulls his way to the 42. Horde playing in place of the injured Robert Smith, who underwent hernia surgery, might be back next week. Troy Aikman was the #1 pick in the 1989 draft. The following year, Jeff George was the #1 pick. After he had started his college career at Purdue, came out as a junior at Illinois. Ford and Morrow in the backfield. Moss and Carter outside with Glover, the tight end. Stussy, McDaniel, Christie, Dixon, and Stringer up front. Randall McDaniel as good as there ever was at left guard. Here is Ford again, and Leroy bangs his way up to the 48-yard line. Coakley again in on the hit. The Dallas defense is fast as we take a look at them up front, and they'll get Leon Lett back off suspension next week. Pittman, Spellman, Hennings, and Ellis up front. The linebackers small and quick. Hambrick, Godfrey coming off a great game last week at Indy, and Coakley. Smith and Sanders at the corners. Teague and Woodson are the safeties. Back-to-back running plays, first down. Now Sanders lines up against Moss. And Randy goes in motion. Dion shadows him. Ford again to get the receivers. Look at this. And Robert Smith, the man being replaced at least temporarily by Horde, is the first to applaud. Tackled by Teague.
Remember, Denny Green was telling us yesterday the key to this whole offense is Robert Smith. He's out with a hernia, and he'll be back probably next week. But take a look at this hole right here, Al. And Horde doesn't have the explosive speed that a Robert Smith does, but he certainly will take it up in between the tackles, and he's a rough and tumble type of back. You can see right there the offensive line doing a great job, and give Randall McDaniel great credit for that one, cutting off Alonzo Spellman from making a play.
Horde coming off a game last week in which he had the longest run of his career, 53 yards. Now they keep it on the ground and they give it to Mo Williams in his fourth year out of Kentucky, and even Robert Smith has to say, wow, we go 3 deep and we still do it.
Al, I'll tell you why, because the defense of the Dallas Cowboys usually keeps their safeties within 8 to 9 yards of the line of scrimmage, but Dave Campo and the Dallas Cowboy defensive staff are so concerned about these 3 wide receivers that their safeties are playing so far back that the defensive line has got to come up and make some plays and give the linebackers a chance to make tackles.
Start to come up now, 7 in the box from the 33-yard line. They give it to Williams again, and that's their shortest gain as he takes it to the 29-yard line. So 5 plays and 5 runs on Minnesota's opening drive.
And you can see on that last play, finally, number 28, Darren Woodson, the all-pro safety for the Dallas Cowboys, was in on a tackle. The last few times, he was 15 yards back because they're so concerned about throwing the ball deep and not giving the Minnesota offense an opportunity to score quickly. Make them work for it.
2nd and 6, lining up in the eye. Sanders on the right side defensively, not linked up with anybody, and George is going to throw his first pass of the game the other way, and that's incomplete. The coverage by Dexter Coakley tackling Andrew Jordan as the ball got there. No flag, 3rd down.
One thing about Jeff George that probably irks a lot of people is the way that he's nonchalant on the field. I mean, he's so confident about his arm and his ability to throw the football that at times he'll throw it off his back foot and he won't look very comfortable and he won't look real fundamental. And there's Randall Cunningham, who I know is stewing on a sideline. He could tell me that he left gracefully, which he did, but you have to know that inside he's going to be dying that he wants to get out here.
Outwardly saying all the right things. The Cowboys, meanwhile, not allowing a touchdown in the first quarter or a point off a first drive this year. 3rd down and 6, the whistle before the snap. So there was action up front, and Stussy may have moved. The left tackle.
Prior to the snap, false start, 73, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Confirmed.
To talk about Jeff George, Al, he came here as a backup. He's only making $400,000. Denny Green told us yesterday that Lee Steinberg, Jeff is his agent. He came to him and said, hey, you know, we're interested. And then he said, look, go see if there's any starter jobs out there for the NFL right now. If there aren't, then come back, and then we'll take him as a backup. He comes here. He's not the focal point, you know, where he has been everywhere else.
He could have stayed at Oakland had the Raiders elected to extend the contract. They did not. That made him a free agent, and he winds up here. 3rd down and 11. And this one is whistled dead because Greg Ellis came across the line.
I think you're going to have movement on Randy Moss, Al. Ellis came across, but Moss had actually moved before the ball was snapped. Ellis did not make contact with the offensive line.
Flags on both sides of the field.
Right.
So the line judge and the head linesman each threw one.
Prior to the snap, false start, wide receiver, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Exactly right, Boomer. Randy Moss. So 10 yards worth of penalties, and right now they're out of field goal range.
You know, what are the Dallas Cowboys doing? They're not allowing, up to this point at least, the Vikings to go quickly into the end zone, and they're trying to take the fans out of it. Let them run the ball a little bit. That's okay. Just don't give up the big play. Let's not get down early quickly and get this crowd into it.
Fast-moving quarter, under 7 minutes to play. Moss lined up against Sanders, Dion, and Randy on a 3rd and 16 from the 39-yard line. George looking that way, has to step up, has a lot of room to roam, home, but not enough for the first down. Jeff not the most nimble of foot, even though he had about 20 yards of expanse in front of him, and he's out of bounds well shy of the first.
I think the old Jeff George might have tried to wing one in there, but here he knows that he's in field goal range, and he wants to give Gary Anderson a chance to make it. And the one thing I can tell you about the Dallas Cowboy linebackers, they are fast. Look at number 52 right there, Dexter Coakley. He can close in a hurry. I mean, that's like it's almost the speed of the DB in a linebacker's body. That's how dangerous he is.
This is a 49-yard attempt for Gary Anderson. The kick is long enough, but that one is wide. So each team shows something, actually plenty offensively. The Cowboys, a good drive. They come up empty. The Vikings, a good ground game. They come up empty, and still nothing at the Metrodome. Our aerial camera tonight provided by Southwest Airlines. Very pleasant night. Big high-pressure dome over this area. And as we said, Boomer, 77 degrees, breaking the old record by 6 degrees.
What an absolutely beautiful city. Now, we're going to come back here in December. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be this one.
No. Sanders on the bike. Aikman backpedals, and it is intercepted. It is picked off by Jimmy Hitchcock.
Now, when you try to run this play, the wide receiver has got to get in front of the defensive back, and it looks like that he did not catch the ball on top of it.
Oh, very interesting. Television timeout and maybe a look at a replay. When we went to commercial, we talked about a replay. Well, it has been challenged by Chan Gailey. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, let's get the Dallas offense back on the field. That's definitive right there. Jimmy Hitchcock did not make that play. Two things on this play, Al. One, Ernie Mills has got to get inside that defensive back. He can't let Hitchcock make a play on the ball like that. So Ernie might as well forget that. They're not going to call the play ever again for him. And Jimmy Hitchcock probably knows. So if I were the Dallas offense, I'd be on the field right now.
So here's the ruling again. Walt Coleman, the referee, will make the call here. You can challenge it. If you lose the challenge, it costs you a timeout, but they're going to win this one.
They better win it.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground.
Okay.
The pass is incomplete. No timeout is charged. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line.
All right, Al, we got it right.
Exactly. That was definitive. It gives Dallas the ball back. It's an incomplete pass, and it's 2nd down and 10.
You can see right here, and you know, thankfully on Monday night we have so many cameras and so many angles, and Kenny Wolf and Craig Janoff give us the great pictures that we don't miss anything, do we, Al?
Not a thing.
Absolutely not.
No excuses, right?
Well, I tell you right now, Troy Aikman is going to go over to Ernie Mills and say, look, next time we call that pattern, do not let the defensive back get inside. That's where I am throwing the ball. It's a timing pattern. If it's one-on-one, you have to make the play. And you can see right now, Al, from this point, the Dallas Cowboys have 3 receivers in the huddle. The Minnesota Vikings are now going to match up, and they're going to bring number 29, Chris Rogers, in. But take a look at this. Ernie Mills, he cannot let Hitchcock, and Hitchcock's smart because he's been watching film all week long, so he knows it's a favorite play of the Cowboys. But Mills cannot let him get inside.
Well, the one thing Aikman is doing, as opposed to last week when it was a full dink and dunk outing against Indianapolis, is he's actually throwing the ball down the field. 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line. Smith to the outside, tries to cut it back and runs into traffic, and is stopped after a gain of 1. Tony Williams, the first to hit him. Boomer, when you look at Aikman last week, he was 19 of 24 at Indy. That's 79%. That's great, but only 159 yards. And there it is, the first player, as you see, in the history of the league with that many passes, completing that many passes of the 24-plus thrown with so few yards.
Now, a lot of that has to do with the defense that you're going against, and Indianapolis does a good job of confusing quarterbacks and bringing different types of blitzes. He's got to drop it off. Guys got to break tackles and make runs after the catch.
3rd and 9 out of the gun. Warren makes a nice block to let Aikman hang in there, and then it is caught, and going out of bounds is Ismael at the 1st down marker. Kenny Wright with the coverage, but Warren able to pick up the blitzer, give Troy the extra half second to throw, and they complete the first down.
And you could see Kenny Wright talking to Jimmy Hitchcock, trying to get any help that he can on the field of play. I mean, that's the type of matchup you want. You want Rocket Ismail to go against one of the rookies, and when you blitz like this, it's going to be man coverage down the field, and there's no way a rookie's going to stay with a player like Ismail.
Warren picked up Griffith, and Aikman's able to convert first down at the 49-yard line. Back they go to the great Emmitt Smith, who picks up 5. Emmitt running with as much spring in his legs in this his 10th year in the league as at any point. Went through, I guess, a little swale period a couple of years ago, and like any running back, people would say, he's just not as quick. Well, who is as quick? But this year, I mean, Emmitt takes those things personally.
And with all guys getting injured this year, you know, and he's still standing. I mean, he looks good. He looks great out on the field. Before the game, you could just see there's a lot of hop in his step. He feels like he's got that, you know, whole thing going on again for him.
Emmitt's one of those guys. I'll show you. 2nd down and 5 from the 44-yard line. Smith again. I'll show you a first down, and I'll show you a nice gain to the 29-yard line. Finally tripped by Orlando Thomas. And Emmitt Smith tonight with a 15-yard pickup here has already carried the ball a total of 7 times for 40 yards.
And as long as they can continue to do this behind their massive offensive line, you can see Eric Williams right there, Larry Allen, Mark Stepnoski, who's not massive, he's small by league standards, their center, but as long as he can continue to do that, that's going to force Minnesota to get 8 guys around the line of scrimmage, and then you're looking at one-on-one outside. And that's where you really have an advantage.
Stepnoski, a midget by league standards. Here's Smith again to the outside, and Emmitt picks up another 6. Tripped up by Thomas. As Emmitt Smith's career, I don't want to say winds down, because he still is very much in the prime of it, especially the way he's going, but he's chasing Eric Dickerson, number 3 on the all-time list in the Hall of Fame. The at least temporarily retired Barry Sanders, who will be in the Hall of Fame, number 2 all-time. And of course, number 1, the great Walter Payton, with over 16,700 yards atop the list. Pretty good company. 2nd down and 4 from the 23-yard line on the Cowboys' 2nd drive. A quick toss, and is caught by Mills, but slip move again. First down to the 18. Gets by Hitchcock, and Dallas moves the chains. The numbers that Emmitt is chasing, when you look ahead, and clearly Barry Sanders could have, and maybe if he does come back, will eclipse Walter Payton's mark. But as you can see, Emmitt Smith now with about 3,500 less yards than Walter Payton.
Well, the way this game keeps going, he's going to have an opportunity to gain a lot of yards, because the Minnesota defense is just not tackling, and the defensive line is not stopping the offensive line. They're able to get to the 2nd level and get onto the linebackers.
First down at the 18-yard line. Troy, great protection, and then finally has to dump it off as the secondary of the Vikings does a great job, and Jerry Ball comes in and knocks him down.
Jerry Ball traded over from Cleveland, and I talked to him before the game how happy he was to be here as opposed to being to the Browns.
Back in Minnesota. Monday Night Football being brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Budweiser, the beer with a fresh, clean taste that's never filling. Norelco, for an unexpectedly close shave, put it to the test. And Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
I have to believe that you're going to be looking for Rocket Ismail down here versus number 20, the rookie, Kenny Wright.
Rocket, bottom of the screen, 2nd and 10. Instead, they go back to Emmitt. And Emmitt takes it to the 15-yard line behind a Robert Thomas block, and he's tackled by McDaniel, setting up a 3rd down and 7. The Cowboys, 2 years ago, Barry Switzer's last year, a lot of trouble in the red zone. Gailey got them righted last year, and now, Boomer, they're tops in the league in the red zone, but they're going up against the Minnesota Vikings, who have the best red zone defense in the league.
You know, and it's kind of funny when you look at that statistic right there, especially with these rookies in the secondary. And when you get this matchup, Troy's got to find those guys, and he's got to find the matchup that he thinks that he can exploit.
3 receivers to the right. Aikman looking for a shovel pass, and the Vikings smell it out. The ball is dropped by Ismail. Rocket was in motion, came back the other way, and it's Dallas ball at the 19-yard line, and Cunningham comes in for another field goal attempt.
those are great plays when they pop, and they look like you're a genius when you call them, but the Minnesota Vikings are having trouble getting back to Troy Aikman, so they're going to blitz, and that's exactly what happened on that play. They brought 6 guys, and they blitzed right into the hole.
Cunningham now, who missed earlier from 42. This is a 38-yarder. Bjornsson puts it down, and this one is no good. So these two teams have been marching up and down the Metrodome field for 13 minutes and 54 seconds. And the end result, nothing.
Hey,
coming your way on Saturday.
University of Minnesota beat Penn State this week. Anything's possible.
It is. Big upset. Happy Valley not too happy. Minnesota with the first down from the 18, and Leroy Horde picks up 2. Leroy's been in the league a long time. Started with Cleveland in 1990, and then with Carolina and Minnesota in 96 and beyond. Leslie, what you got?
Al, you may notice that Randy Moss is wearing the number 34 on a small towel. He told me he grew up idolizing Walter Payton. He wore number 34 in Rand, West Virginia at DuPont High School. He said he always admired Walter for his accomplishments and his humility, and the Bears games were the games they got in West Virginia. Al?
Tributes all around the league this weekend to the sweetness.
This has been one of the problems of the offense of the Minnesota Vikings, trying to get plays in, try to make audibles, and then have to call timeout and blow an opportunity.
Timeout with 23 ticks left in the first quarter. Do tape television.
No, we don't.
Second down and 8 from the 30-yard line after the timeout. Sanders is lined up against Chris Carter now at the top of the screen. Jeff George to throw. Wings it, and Moss juggled it and couldn't hold on. Covered by Woodson. He was doubled on the play. Woodson and Kevin Smith were both there.
You know, interesting, last night on ESPN, Al, I was watching Tennessee versus Miami, and Steve McNair tried to do the same thing, force the thing to the sideline versus double coverage. And when you drop back, you have to find the safety. And watch Woodson, number 28, come right in there at the end of the play while Kevin Smith knocks that ball. You have to be careful when you throw the ball, and as a quarterback, you have to find where the safeties are. If they're over to that side, you cannot throw it deep down the sideline.
Moss and Sanders matched up now, 3rd down and 8. George buys time, throws over the middle, underthrown, incomplete up at the 42-yard line, intended for Chris Carter, covered by Teague. 4th down.
I would tell you right now, watching, it seems like the Dallas Cowboys want this game more than the Minnesota Vikings. It just seems like you could see it in their body language, the way they're coming on the field, they're running on the field and getting ready. Minnesota Vikings are kind of just walking around, kind of going through this thing, going through the motions right now.
You cannot underestimate how important it is to the Cowboys, who already trail the Giants in Washington. Meanwhile, Sanders, who normally returns punts, is not going back to return this one. It's Jeff Ogden. Mitch Berger leads the league in gross average and net average. This one end over end, caught at the 27 and returned back to the 36 by Ogden.
It's almost like everybody in here is disappointed that they didn't see Deion Sanders back there.
Well, Deion's been bothered by that hamstring. Right. Remember, he missed all that action with a toe injury. In fact, when these teams played each other last year on Thanksgiving, as Deion gets to the bike, Deion had that toe injury, and that's part of the reason that Randy Moss had that unbelievable Thanksgiving game.
Absolutely, and certainly that Deion missed 3 days of practice this week. He did practice Saturday night, I guess, down in Texas Stadium, I was told. So still a dangerous weapon. I guess if he can run and ride a bike, you know,
do a triathlon.
Kick him the ball, man.
Right.
Put him on the field. I'm paying you so much money. Get out there, make touchdowns.
Dallas has scored in the first quarter in every game this season, but unless they launch one here, that string will come to an end. First down from the 36-yard line. And Aikman throws, finds the open man in the seam. It's Ismail for a big gain to the Minnesota 40 as time runs out. And that's about as entertaining a scoreless first quarter as you will see. 3 missed field goals, and that's the reason we're scoreless. No score in Minnesota, and Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Second quarter in Minneapolis. Al Michaels, Boomer Esiason, Leslie Visser, no score. First quarter ends on a 24-yard pass to Ismail. Now Dallas at the Viking 40 to begin the second period. First and 10. Smith is sold back in this set, and the play is whistled dead before it starts because Flozell Adams was whistled for a false start on the left side.
Prior to the snap, false start, 76, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Be first and 15. No score. Boomer, that's a lot of entertainment for no score in the first period.
It really is, Alan. One of the things that Coach Fazio is having trouble with is how to defend against the run of the Dallas Cowboys. And you take a look at here, he has to have 8 guys in and around the line of scrimmage, and it leaves the safety back here in the middle, one-on-one, and creates all kinds of seams right in here. And Troy Aikman, if you do not get to him, he's going to go ahead and complete those passes in the seams. And right there he does that. You have to get pressure on the quarterback.
First down and 15 now from the 45-yard line. Aikman, a little dump off intended for Thomas, the converted linebacker, now the fullback, and that's incomplete. Second and 15. You know, one of the great things about a game like this that I love is that it's a midseason game, but it's one of those maybe turning point games for either team. I mean, Dallas 4-3, trying to right itself, and Minnesota thinking, you know, last year 15-1. Dennis Green said we weren't primed at the end, and they lose to Atlanta. He said maybe this year will be prime.
Well, the one thing that I can tell you, Al, is that both of these teams, the last 5 weeks of the season, are going to find themselves in dogfights within their own division. They play a lot of those same teams. Dallas ends the season at home with the New York Giants. It will be a huge game probably to decide who wins that division.
Second down, 15, and it's caught over the middle by Warren. He gets free. First down inside the 25, and a run down to the 20-yard line.
I think Chan Gailey has been reading the newspapers down in Dallas. He's been catching a lot of heat on the conservative nature of his offense right now. What he's doing, he's spreading the field, and he's forcing Coach Fazio, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, to match up. And you can see right here, it's just a little dump-off pattern, and you give it to somebody like Chris Warren, who's been in this league a long time, has gained a lot of yards, and you can see him run away from the linebackers.
And the irony is, as good as Dallas looks offensively, it's the first time all season, as you look at Coach Fazio, the defensive coordinator, it's the first time all season they don't score in the first period. First and 10 to the 21-yard line. They give it to Emmitt Smith, who cuts it back, and Emmitt turns nothing into an 8-yard gain to the 13-yard line.
Allie doesn't look like he's losing anything to me. Now, against the Giants, we had him. He didn't look so good. Now, that was against one of the better defenses in football. But again, you go back and you look at the effort that he shows right here. Look at the determination. He is not going to be stopped. The one thing that I can tell you is that when you're on the sideline as an offensive player and you know that the opposing defense cannot stop you, you want that ball, and all of a sudden your effort picks up, your desire gets better, and these guys sense that they can do something big here.
Second and a long 2 from the 13-yard line, out of the eye. Emmitt behind Robert Thomas, nothing doing, flagged down. That's Chris Dolman. It wasn't in anybody's training camp because he was retired, who makes the hit, and it's a hold against Dallas. So the choice is going to be now second down and 12 or third down and about 5.
67, offense, 10 yards, repeat second down.
He's taken back, and on that last play, Flozell Adams just did not block Chris Dolman. He blocked the wrong guy. He actually blocked Tony Williams inside. He should have turned out and just get a body on Chris Dolman. You can't allow defensive linemen to have open shots on your running back like that. And there is Flozell and Chris Dolman also. And Al, Chan Gailey told us that he's happy with the way Flozell Adams has really started to come into his own a little bit. He's still making some mistakes. There's no question about it. It's only his second year. He's got to get used to that position. And down here, communication is the key for offensive linemen. When it's this loud, sometimes they tend to make mistakes like that.
And they're turning up the volume right now on a second and 12 ball for Dallas at the 23-yard line. That's Ernie Mills in motion. The flag is down again, and this one is caught over the middle. Warren takes it to the 18-yard line, tackled by McDaniel. Dennis Green.
Let's go backwards.
That's Jeff Ogden, the number 3 receiver. Going to make a third down and 17. Excuse me, 2nd down and 17. Look at that. Look at that, George.
You would have never have thought that that would have been the passing yards right there.
Amazing. 2nd down, 17 at the 28-yard line. Aikman out of the gun. Action again. Walt Coleman having a very busy first half. The referee, John Randall, came across.
Now the discussion here is whether or not Randall forced the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys to move. And you can see that I think that they're going to call it against him.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, 93 of the defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
And he is one of the guys that they put the rule in for, because he was one that was always jerking up there trying to get the offensive linemen of the opposing teams to move. Watch 93 right in the middle right here. See, here he comes. And what he's doing, he's watching Stepnoski. He's looking to see if he can get a jump on when he's going to snap the ball.
Give it and take it. After those 2 penalties, 2nd down and 12 from the 23. Aikman.
What time?
With great protection. Then the safety valve, that's Warren. And he gets tackled by McDaniel at the 21-yard line. All that for a 2-yard gain.
Jeff George is wondering if he's ever going to get back on the field.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm talking to Troy Aikman in his helmet right now, like Chan Gailey is, I'd say, hey, look for 29, look for number 20. Those are the defensive backs that are the rookies. Let's see if we can't get them matched up with either Mills or Rocket and go for it. And these guys, this is certainly a difficult situation when you have to get up against number 81 or number 80 of the Cowboys. Not an easy situation to be in if you're a rookie.
Look at Michael Irvin.
He's having a good time, isn't he?
He's on the beach. He's almost on the field. 3rd down and 11. The play clock all the way down to 2. Aikman after the pump fake. But patented move to the other side. The way he stutter steps left and then has to throw it away. And goes down amongst a trio of purple shirts.
You know they're coming. You can hear him breathing. You can hear him growling, especially this guy. He comes 100%, 100 miles an hour, does John Randall, and it just like Troy is just waiting and waiting.
Richie Cunningham's heart is going about 100 miles an hour right now. These haven't been happy days for Richie. He's missed field goals of 42 and 37. This is a 40-yarder. Bjornsson will put it down. Officially 39. And this time it is just good. Just good with a capital J. Happy days are back. Just barely. Otherwise, the waiver wire was looming. 11:21 to the half. 3-0 Dallas.
Al, right before we went to break, Emmitt Smith came on the sideline and was screaming. And he was screaming at Flozell Adams, his left tackle, who made a few mistakes. And you can see right there, you think this guy wants it? And then you can see the coach come in and say, that's 2 times now. Get it right.
Goins kick fielded by David Palmer, a yard into the end zone. Gets hit at the 19th. Flag is down, and Palmer stopped up at the 22-yard line.
I sense that the veterans of the Dallas Cowboys, especially Emmitt Smith, can feel like, this could be our game. They're not on the top of their game. And see, it's a hold against the Minnesota Vikings. But before the game, didn't you get the sense that the Cowboys were kind of tentative about how good the Minnesota Vikings were?
You're right. There's a feel on the field before the game, and sometimes
45. Return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
John Henry Mills. And you're right, Boomer. It's one of those nights when you walked off the field and it was hard to get a read on what was going on as you look at the numbers tonight. And of course, they're weighted on Aikman's side.
But the thing about it is they only have 3 points, which is nothing, really, when you think about it. And
after all that, especially since they've had the ball for almost 14 minutes, and the Vikings have had it for 5. 11:10 to go in the opening half. First down at the 7-yard line. Ford. Minnesota has done nothing since that first drive open with a great ground attack led by Leroy Hort. Sunday Night Football on ESPN this week. It's Denver against Seattle as the Broncos come in off that win against San Diego, and the Seahawks 6-2, and then we go to Foxborough next week. The Patriots off the bye week, and Drew Bledsoe hosting the New York Jets. Parcells back to New England. Jets, New England next Monday night.
Has there been a quieter, better season by a quarterback than Drew Bledsoe?
We'll find out next week. We'll see him in action on Monday night. 2nd down and 5. And Horde gets taken down by Michael Myers. And I don't mean Austin Powers. Michael Myers, second-year guy out of Alabama, makes his presence felt.
Well, somebody's got to block you, and if nobody blocks you, you better get in the backfield and make a tackle. And again, it looks like the Vikings are kind of sleepwalking. The first couple of games this year, they were sleepwalking. They got away with it in Atlanta. But really, it just looks like a team, and there's Ray Sherman, their new offensive coordinator. It just seems like they're out of sync. They're not into it for some reason.
3rd down and 9. Play clock all the way down. George under pressure, and he gets sacked. And is it a safety? Was he sacked outside the goal line? And they say yes, just inside the 1 by Ellis and Spellman. So he avoids a safety, but you have a situation right now where Berger's going to have to snap the ball or kick the ball after a 10-yard snap and do it in a hurry.
Al, Jeff George cannot get out of this. There's nothing that he can do about it. And it looks like Alonzo Spellman just absolutely runs around Todd Stussy. Now, he's been a Pro Bowler over there at left tackle. You can't allow that to happen.
And they give George the forward progress before he gets knocked back into the end zone. Now Berger, so the call was correct. Dion's not going to return this kick either, which tells me all I need to know about his hamstring. And Jeff Ogden is going to run it back, standing in midfield. Berger leading the league in gross punting, net punting as well. It's a bouncing ball. Ogden fields at his 45 and runs out of bounds at the Minnesota 46-yard line. With 9:04 to the half.
What a bad series for the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, Al. First on a running play, and now on this passing play.
3-0 Dallas. Southwest Airlines providing that view, hovering high above Minneapolis. Again, 77 degrees in the Twin Cities today, all-time record. Beautiful weather. Inside, they try to keep it at 65, but with all his body heat, it's up around 72 right now.
I thought the dome was open from that shot.
They will open the roof tonight. First down at the 45-yard line. Here's Aikman throwing, caught by Smith. And he takes it to the 36. This is not one of those retractable roof domes. This is Teflon coated fiberglass, which was built in the early 80s in a place that the Vikings would like to move out of, because Red McCombs, the owner, telling me we just at a certain point in time we can't compete unless we get a new stadium. But that's a lament we hear around the league.
That's unbelievable right there. Words can't describe how inept the offense for the Minnesota Vikings has been tonight.
2nd down and 1. They have still not completed a pass. The Vikings, as Aikman retreats on 2nd and 1, and then has to dump it off, and it's short, intended for the intended receiver, Robert Thomas. Again, Thomas is a linebacker converted to fullback, and they're looking at Chris Warren, the backup to Emmitt Smith.
Now, the only time linebackers catch the ball is when they play linebacker, it seemed like.
Right.
And now, when you take a linebacker and you make him into a fullback, something happens. They don't catch it.
They love this guy because Moose Johnston started the season, but then his season ended with a neck injury. They brought in Tim Lester, the ex-Steeler, released him and made Thomas the guy. 3rd and 1. And they give it to Emmitt Smith, and he can't get out of the backfield. And that's when you need a fullback to lead the way, and they don't get one.
This is exactly what happened to them last week at the beginning of the second half against the Indianapolis Colts. 3rd and 1 on the Colts side of the 50. And they get stopped, and the Colts gain momentum, and they come back and they score a touchdown. And right here, my only question is, Eric Williams is on the other side. Certainly Larry Allen is your left guard there, and he's a strong run blocker, but not a chance there.
And they line Bjornsson up in the backfield. Normally plays tight end, but he does play fullback in short yardage sets. This is the first punt of the game for Toby Goen.
Richie Cunningham's probably thankful he hasn't go out there and try another field goal.
Oh, boy. Going. Floating one. Oh. And that baby bounces at the one and then takes a good Dallas hop. The question is, did it go into the end zone?
Did it hit the line?
And they are going to say it did. If it hits what amounts to the chalk, the goal line, that's part of the end zone. And the officials checked with each other. One more look.
Boom.
And it does.
Great call.
Good call. Minnesota at the 20. Can they get something going? 3-0. McCombs. On the Minnesota Vikings. Tomorrow they will celebrate their 49th wedding anniversary. He is quite a character. From the 20-yard line. First down for the Vikings, and this one is dead before it starts, and there's a little imbroglio that ensues between Spellman and Christie.
I think now you have Leroy Horde moving early in the backfield, and this is just
Prior to the snap, false start, 44, the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
There's Michael Irvin enjoying his night, laying down on the sideline, having a good time. And here's Denny Green, and he's got to wonder what is going on with this offense. This is shades of the offense early on in the season again.
Monday Night Football brought to you by Chrysler, giving you back the romance of driving. UPS, the official express delivery sponsor of the NFL. CNET, the source for computers and technology at CNET.com. And Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up, never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. First and 15 with the ball to the 15-yard line. George going down as he throws, and the pass is knocked down.
I'll tell you what, the Dallas defense is just taking it to the offensive line, and Dave Campo is sensing that his guys can get back there. He's blitzing, he's bringing it. And, you know, he's got to feel great about the way his defense is playing, but I don't know if it's because of the way they're playing, especially the defensive line and how relentless they've been, or because of how poorly the offensive line of the Vikings are playing right now. And you get to see right here the ball, as Jeff is going down, hits Chad Hennings right in the head. Fortunate that that wasn't picked off.
Second down, 15 from the 15-yard line, halfway through the second quarter. Still looking for his first completion. Instead, it's another sack. This one is Kavika Pittman.
And this time, Kavika Pittman runs right around Todd Stussy again. Now it's about foot placement and getting leverage as an offensive lineman. And right now, Stussy looks like he's playing on the road as opposed to being right here at home.
3rd and 25. Leslie?
Robert Smith is one of the most intelligent men in the NFL, a chemistry and history major at Ohio State. So can you tell us what's happening with the offense?
Well, I think if you look at an offense in small enough frame, you know, you can see some bad things happening, but you have to look over the whole course of a game, and I think that we'll turn things around.
And maybe you could tell us after this play.
3rd down and 25, and George going for it all for Moss, and he's linked with Dion, and Dion busts it up. So the first time we've seen the big matchup manifest itself. Victory to Dion. Les?
We did. Al still looking for his first completion, Jeff George. But Robert, maybe you could also tell us you're out with a sports hernia. What is a sports hernia?
Well, as far as I know, the only difference between a sports hernia and a regular hernia is there's supposedly enough development in the abdominal muscles of athletes to keep the intestine from ever poking through. So I guess that's the only difference. The surgery report never said anything about sports hernia. I think that's just a term that people use. Just a regular hernia. Hernias.
Hope to see you back soon. He says he hopes next week, Al.
That guy is too smart to be.
Well, that's a guy who he majored in pre-med at Ohio State. I'd let him operate on me.
Oh, man.
Someday.
He sounds like a doctor, doesn't he? Oh, gosh.
4th down and 25.
And on that last play, Deion Sanders lined up 11 yards off of Randy Moss.
And Deion's hamstring has been tender, and that's the reason he has been running back.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense. 5 yards, still 4th down.
Now Deion is going to come back out onto the field.
So much for a bad hamstring.
Right. A very ephemeral bad hamstring. That's the last play.
And remember, you know, Deion is definitely a showman. Look at this. Oh, well, what does that mean?
That means he's
ready to return punts now?
Either that or he's playing possum. He's been known to do that. Pittsburgh to punt.
Absolutely.
And they have to move the ball out to the 10-yard line. The reason for the delay here after the penalty, it'll be 4th down and 20.
Remember, Al, against the Washington Redskins a couple weeks ago, he ran helmet to helmet, and they thought that he was out. The doctor said, don't play anymore, and he snuck back on the field.
He did. He actually sneaked back out there because Gailey said, I didn't know he was back in there until I looked out and I saw him in the secondary. Booming punt by Berger.
The type that
Sanders at the 31, but no! He is tackled at the 37. Chris Walsh, a wide receiver, a guy who's been around for a while. One-on-one with Dion, and he wins that battle. 6:31 to the half, in a game dominated by the Cowboys, but it's still only 3-0. Sanders pedaling away. Meanwhile, Minnesota minus 18 passing yards. If you're wondering how can that be, sacks count against a team's passing total. They have incurred a couple of sacks worth minus 18 yards, and they haven't completed a single pass. So 0 on that end, minus 18 on the sack end, and that's the reason for that. And Emmitt Smith is off to the races. See you inside the 30, and they'll get him from behind, or will they not? No, the rookie can't bring him down. Kenny Wright caught up at the 10, but Emmitt was not to be denied. 63 yards for the great one.
Al, talking to Chan Gailey last night, he told me that when he left Pittsburgh, Bill Cowher, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, said, look, the first thing that you have to do is make sure you keep your offensive line and your defensive lines intact, because that's where it all begins. And tonight, the offensive line of the Cowboys, nice play by Everett McIver there, coming off and picking off the linebacker, and the defensive line of the Cowboys are absolutely taking it to the big fellas from the Vikings. And the rookie, number 20, is complaining that Emmitt Smith grabbed his face mask, but to no avail.
63 yards. That's his longest run in 7 years. Cunningham for the point after, and he makes that an adventure, but it's good. Oh. Emmitt now with 144 career touchdowns. Jerry Rice, the all-time leader at 177. Marcus Allen retired, 145, and here's 144 for number 22.
You can see right there at the point of attack, number 67, Everett McIver gets enough of McDaniel, the linebacker, to spring Emmitt. Now watch at the end here, as number 20, the defensive back, the rookie defensive back, Kenny Wright comes in, and right there, Emmitt he has his hand in his face mask. I don't know if I've ever seen an official call that type of face mask. But where is the defensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, Al?
Where's the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings? Where's either line?
They are just getting hammered at the point of attack.
10-0. Cowboys. Emmitt now with 134 rushing touchdowns, 144 total.
Will Williams, then number 22, David Palmer are back deep.
And remember, Al, what we talked about early on, the Vikings don't score points. All of a sudden, all these other deficiencies start showing up, and that's what we're seeing.
Toby going to kick off. Fielded at the 6-yard line. This is David Palmer behind a wedge. Fumbles the ball, and Dallas has it at the 24-yard line. And Jerry Jones exults.
The nightmare continues for... Boy, whatever could go wrong is going wrong for the Vikings right now. And Denny Green has got to get his guys in the sideline and just rip into him or something. I mean, he's got to somehow ignite this defense.
Charlie Williams comes up with the fumble recovery.
And what's significant about that, Al? No turnovers for the Dallas Cowboys in the last 3 weeks.
They hadn't forced one.
Right.
This time it's Dat Wynn who actually creates the fumble. The rookie out of Texas A&M. David Palmer dejectedly walks back to the bench, and Aikman on 1st and 10 now. Watch Dat Wynn come in from behind and force the issue. Number 59. First down now at the 24-yard line for the Dallas Cowboys. So the offense back on the field. They go back to Emmitt Smith. He has another big hole. Can you believe what's going on here? Emmitt Smith.
Oh, man.
Right to the Hall of Fame.
Are you kidding me? You take a look at this defense right now out here on the field, and they all have their hands on their hips. They are so absolutely mortified at what is happening right here. It's almost difficult to comprehend that the Minnesota defense can be this porous at the line of scrimmage like this. And there's Foge Fazio. I'm going to tell you, at halftime, those guys are going to be getting an earful. And watch number 44 take on Dwayne Rudd, the fullback. And there goes Emmett. And we saw it earlier in the night, Al. He did not want to be stopped earlier in the night. He got Flozell out of his face, and now all of a sudden he's making great plays.
Now Cunningham is a treat as well. That's 145 career touchdowns for Emmitt Smith, tying him with Marcus Allen, second place all time. Second only now to Jerry Rice. Emmitt Smith has 140 yards on the ground. The NFL record for yards in a single game, Walter Payton, 275. So Emmitt's on that pace at the moment.
I was fortunate enough to be the quarterback in a game where Corey Dillon set the rookie record. I think it was 246 yards in a game, Al, in a Thursday night game. And it's special to watch the holes open. And you could take a look at some of these numbers right now that Emmitt Smith is approaching.
There it is, and you can see one significant difference here is the fact that when you go to Emmitt, you can take a look at, it's almost a touchdown per game. And then Jim Brown over a touchdown per game. And on his first touchdown, he went by Eric Dickerson in yardage, so he's third all time behind Walter Payton and Barry Sanders now.
And he looks better than ever tonight, doesn't he? I mean, he looks terrific.
Here's going to kick off. This is Mo Williams at the 5-yard line. Up to the 31. 5:54 left in the first half. I think the Kohlers are already lined up for talk radio tomorrow. What do you think?
I think Denny Green. I would say that also Foge Fazio are going to have to go in at halftime. They're going to obviously have to make some serious adjustments. And really the biggest adjustment, Al, it's nothing on paper. It's about attitude. Offensive and defensive line play is about attitude. It's man against man. It's physical. It's nasty. And if you want it, you have to go and get it.
First down from the 31. The Vikings still do not have a completed pass tonight. George finally connects. Gronk's cheer goes up in Minneapolis, and it's Andrew Glover. So with a team that has Moss, a team that has Carter, a team with the flag down here that has Jake Reed.
And you're going to have offensive pass interference.
Yep, they still don't have a completion.
Unbelievable.
Pass interference on the offense, number 80, 10 yards, repeat first down.
Carter.
Watch this. He's right here. Watch him come down, and as Jeff George leaves the pocket, he's trying to skirt around and find some room. And you can see he just actually threw the defender down on the ground, and you obviously can't do that.
First down at the 21, first and 20. So the Vikings still without that first completion. After that was taken away. Now they get it. It's Carter. Carter with a nice move to get around Woodson. And then he gets shoved as he is knocked out of bounds by Darren Hambrick.
Well, if there's a guy on this team that's going to ignite him, it's going to be this guy right here, who really literally is one of the great all-time receivers in professional football history. And there goes Emmitt Smith. He might be a little tired.
What is this all about?
I've got him in already, but take a look at Chris Carter right here. Somebody has to lead the football team. Somebody's got to show some desire, and I think that's what Chris Carter is trying to do right now.
No, we'll get the immediate word on Emmitt Smith. Second down and 7 from the 33-yard line. George.
Push him down.
Knocked down at the 32-yard line. That's going to be a sack. What a tremendous job the Cowboys are doing in the secondary tonight, with Moss and Carter and Reed just no factor. In the meantime, a right hand contusion has been sustained by Emmitt Smith, and they're going to take him back and x-ray him.
Al, I think Jeff George has been beaten around so much early in this game that I would think that he's probably a little bit shaky in that pocket right now, and he's watching the pass rush.
That's on tape. That was about a minute and a half ago as they were looking at a right hand contusion. Back he goes for x-rays. 3rd down and 9 now for the Vikings from the 32-yard line. George under pressure. That's incomplete.
Al, he's not even looking downfield right now, and I can't say that I blame him. I don't know how you can gain some trust of your offensive linemen if they haven't been playing well tonight, and he is certainly frustrated. He's obviously disappointed. And then conversely, on the other side, the Cowboy defense is just doing a great job. But this offensive line has got to get itself together.
That was Pat Jones, the Cowboy assistant coach, and that bench is electrified right now.
And we talk about the loss of Brian Billick, who became the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. He was their offensive coordinator. That coordinatorship was given to one Chip Myers, a longtime assistant, who everybody was so excited for. And unfortunately, he passed away of a heart attack, and they just haven't been the same since.
Berger's punt, a fair catch is called for, and I believe you'll see a penalty here. Like there are only 3 flags down in the neighborhood.
This is like a team that's not even being coached, that doesn't understand what's going on the field.
Every wheel has come off. Robert Tate ran into Ogden, who had clearly called for a fair catch.
Denny Green, Al, he's when you talk to him, he seems like a mild-mannered guy. He likes older veterans on his team. He wants to have those guys around. You can see Dion getting some ice on his hamstring.
On the kicking team, number 53, 15 yards, 1st down.
He said 53, but he means 83.
But Denny is going to have to go inside that locker room. And I've been in locker rooms where coaches have just exploded on the team. And he is going to have to start ripping some people. And he's going to have to wake this team up somehow. And somehow this defense is going to have to stop the offense of the Cowboys without Emmitt Smith right now.
Cowboys have outgained Minnesota 254 yards to 42. 17-0 Cowboys. 1st down, Dallas at the 42-yard line. Chris Warren's in the game with Emmitt back in the locker room. Aikman. And they're not going to go conservative here as they go to the air, and he has to throw that one away. Jerry Bull put the pressure on. 2nd down and 10. Be a part of the phenomenon. Who wants to?
No slouch either now. I mean, he was a big-time running back with the Seattle Seahawks. And
all-time leading ground gainer for him.
He certainly possesses the skills to run it up in there. I would continue to do what has gotten you where you are right now.
2nd down and 10 from the 42. Aikman throws into traffic and is able to thread it in to Ernie Mills for a gain of 5 up to the 47-yard line. You know, you think about Aikman, the #1 pick in the '89 draft, and what a rock he has been through his career. 11 years in Dallas, 3 Super Bowl rings, 14 postseason games. And the following year, Jeff George, who's been a nomad. I mean, grew up in Indianapolis, attended Purdue initially, then went to Illinois, drafted by the Colts, 4 years there, 3 years in Atlanta, 2 years in Oakland. Now here, and Jeff has played in his career 1 playoff game. 3rd down and 5 from the 47-yard line. And Troy under pressure. The Vikings get the huge break they need. And at the 20-yard line, come up with it.
Dwayne Rudd had an opportunity for a touchdown if he could just pick the ball up, but like every other Viking tonight, it's not happening. And Stepnoski makes a bad snap. I think he was caught off guard by the blitz.
And they timed that blitz perfectly, too.
Watch this. Well, actually, it just slips out of his hands. And one of the most difficult things to do in all of football is to pick up a rolling ball like this, and it just bounces all over the place. Remember, it's not round, folks. It's got points on it.
And it's Chris Dolman who comes up with it.
The worst feeling in the world for a quarterback is to go back there and try to jump on that football like that. But if Dwayne Rudd picks it up, easy touchdown.
Now the Vikings getting the exact break they need. They need something to turn the game around. With 3:25 to go in the half. At the 21, Jeff George 1 out of 7. Carter matched up with Sanders this time. Top of the screen. George buys time. Finally an open man, and they get it to Andrew Jordan, the tight end, covered by Kevin Smith, knocked down at the 12-yard line. A little short of the first down.
This is reminiscent a little bit of the Indianapolis Colts game last week for the Dallas Cowboys. They come out, they're winning in the second half. Troy Aikman gets sacked, fumbled, and it gives the Indianapolis Colts some momentum. And obviously you sense that right now in the Vikings.
Second down and 1 with the ball at the 12-yard line. Quick flip, first down, Carter. And he gets taken down at the 5-yard line. Dion got a hand on his shirt, and it's a first and goal.
What makes this guy so great, not Deion Sanders, but Chris Carter, is making catches like he just made there and making them look easy. And talking to Jeff George and saying, why did you come here? He said, well, when you get to play with players like this, they make it look easy. They make you look better than you are. And this is the group that I wanted to play with.
For years, they've been running that fade to Carter. Wouldn't that be a matchup here at top of the screen with Sanders on him? Instead to the ground. To Horde. Picking and threading, and a 2-yard gain to the 3-yard line. Tackled by Woodson.
Man, if they get out of here 17-10, or 17-7, excuse me. What a break for the Minnesota Vikings.
Absolutely.
If they get in.
I mean, this game could be missed field goals, other missed opportunities. I mean, Dallas could be leading 30-0 at this point. Second and goal at the 3. Mo Williams is the running back in this set.
I can see Randy Moss getting it right here.
Instead to the ground to Mo Williams, nothing doing. And 60,000 with a cascade of boos.
Randy Moss lined up against Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith 5'11".
2-minute warning. This is a very big play with a game that still has 32 minutes to be played. Third down goal inside the 5. Huge opportunity for Minnesota. And if they settle for only 3.
Well, even if it's only 3 and they get out of here only 14 down, I mean, that's still in itself is really, when you think about what has happened this first half, is unbelievable. I mean, 2 minutes ago they were on the brink of 24-0 possibly.
But to really turn it, they're going to need 7, and they spread it out. Nobody in the backfield. 5 receivers, 2 split left, 3 to the right. Third down and goal.
If you had Randall Cunningham, you might run a quarterback draw here.
And George throws back to the end zone. They get it. It's Moss making the catch for the touchdown.
Too much time for Jeff George to operate, and it gives those receivers a chance to get open and find seams. And Kevin Mathis, 5'9", against Randy Moss in the middle, and these seams, you could see him just looking, throwing it high, throwing it over the heads of the defensive backs. That's George Teague, the safety, number 31. But down here as a quarterback, throw it high and give your receivers a chance to go up above the smaller defensive backs.
Anderson for the point after. You saw that look on Jeff George's face. It was a combination of satisfaction and exasperation. But they're back in the game, 17-7. Vikings get the break they need on the fumble and then cash in.
The great thing about the NFL, Al, you're never out of it. All it takes is a turnover. You give up a big play. You make a big play. The next thing you know, you're right back into it. Take a look at this. And watch how Jeff throws it up high. And Teague doesn't even see the ball. And that's what you want to do. Take advantage of the ability of your receiver, but also remember, Randy Moss was a great basketball player in high school, and even talked about maybe going to play across the street for the Timberwolves, right, with Kevin Garnett. Throw it up there and let him go get it.
Mitch Berger to kick it off. Cowboys have all of their timeouts remaining. Goal line, Kevin Mathis to bring it back to the 24-yard line with 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining in the first half.
Dallas was criticized last week because at the end of the first half they had enough time possibly to go into a 2-minute drill, and they didn't do it. They kind of played conservative and let the clock run out and went in at halftime with a lead. It'll be interesting to see right here what they do, and if they can get to their 3-receiver set and exploit some of those matchups, then I think that they can go down the field. But
well, the one weapon they don't have, though, is Emmitt Smith right now. Emmitt Smith with that left-hand contusion. We're awaiting the report on the X-rays. Excuse me, right-hand contusion, and he suffered it on the touchdown, the second of his 2 touchdowns. Aikman to throw, hits the rocket. Ismail for a minimal gain, tackled there by Jimmy Hitchcock. We'll go back and look at Emmitt as he crossed. Watch his right hand just before he crosses the goal line. Hitchcock hits him. And he gets hit from the backside as well.
What a great picture that is to tell you the story.
2nd down and 9 with the ball at the 24-yard line. Warren. He breaks one. He picks up the first down, goes out of bounds to save a timeout. Run out by Orlando Thomas up at the 37-yard line. Larry Allen, as he does so often, leads the way.
Take a look at this guy. He's 6'3", 330 pounds, and here he comes, number 73, your left guard, leading around the corner. When you have athletic ability of that size and you can get out there and take on defensive backs, what a weapon he is on the offensive line of the Cowboys. One of the best in the league right now.
1st and 10, ball at the 36-yard line. Cowboys up by 10 with a minute to play in the half. Aikman throws, caught over the middle by Ismail, and Rocket has a first down at the 47-yard line, and the Cowboys will spend their first of 3 timeouts. 52 seconds left in the half. 17-7. Let's check in with Chris Berman in New York.
All right, Al, thank you. Coming up on our Toyota halftime show, our top 10, including our favorite, big guys rumbling. 4th down prayers answered by some Lions, not answered by other Lions. Separate stories. And sweet emotion for the Bears against their arch rivals. Plus, the latest BCS standings. See you then, fellas.
All right, Chris, good first half here in Minneapolis as the Cowboys have been dominant, but the Vikings get back into the game, capitalizing on the turnover and then scoring the Stepnoski snap, and now Troy Aikman to try to put at least 3 on the board for Dallas in the waning moments.
So dangerous on the road, giving that home team back the momentum that you so desperately wanted to get a hold of that first half, and they did that. They need to get a score right here, Alan. They're in their 5 wide out set. It creates those mismatches, especially inside.
They spread it. Nobody in the backfield but Troy. Over the middle and through the hands of the Rocket. Covered by Griffith. 2nd down.
Just catch the ball. The ball's right there. It's right on the money, and it's inside again. Remember that you're talking about matchups, and you're looking to get your fastest receiver across the middle with the ball in his hands as he's running. And look at that tight spiral. Look at the accuracy. And you're running your receiver on a safety, Griffith, who's going to have a hard time staying with him. You got to make that catch.
This time Aikman keeps Warren with him in the backfield on 2nd and 10. It's Mills in motion. Troy puts it out into the flat to Warren. Good coverage, though. Chris out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Run out of there by Kenny Wright, setting up a 3rd down and long.
Interesting what Poach Fazio is trying to do right now is just play zone and just wall everything off. Don't put your rookie defensive backs in those tough man-to-man situations. And you can see this hit right here at the end by John Randall, who is known to go after your legs like this. He actually gets knocked down. He has no choice, and he's so relentless that he's going after the quarterback any way he can.
3rd down and 10. And it is Warren. And Chris who took the direct snap, takes it to the 45-yard line. So Stepnoski snapping it right to Warren, but they are shy of the first down, and now Minnesota is going to take the timeout. 4th down and 2 upcoming after the timeout. Some great moments in the battles between these two teams. Let's go back to 1983.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed.
99 yards and a half.
Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds.
Can you believe that?
It's the 99.5-yard run, I think, is the longest run in the history of the league.
And it was later discovered, some of you might recall, that the Cowboys amazingly only had 10 guys on the field
right,
for that play. Meanwhile, Randy Moss is sent back to return this punt. So it is Moss standing at the 10. It is Toby going to punt. Will he put it in Moss's hands is the question. Nope. Well, if he does, it's a fair catch, and Randy's just going to let it go. And it's a fair catch and a diner for somebody. So Minnesota gets it at the 20.
Well, I mean, this is the confidence that Denny Green has in his offense. Let's see if he takes a shot down the field. And if he does, I applaud him for it, because certainly they have been struggling, and he's trying to find any way, shape, or form to get another score here. And you would think with Jake Reed, Chris Carter, and Randy Moss all out on the field right now that he's going to let Jeff George have the opportunity to throw it down the field.
George, 33 yards passing in the half. Carter, 2 catches for 20 yards. Jordan, the tight end, 1 catch for 9, and Randy, 1 catch for 4 yards, but a big one for the touchdown.
And they're only down 10 points.
Amazing.
22 seconds.
Dallas with almost 5 times as much yardage as Minnesota.
They just took 4 seconds off the clock, and Minnesota has 22 seconds. A lot of times a coach, if you have some timeouts left, which the Vikings do, they have 1, they will actually try to run a screen pass just to see if they can pop something happens, and maybe give them a little bit better field position before they throw it up.
George would need about 45 yards to get him into Anderson's field goal range. 1st and 10 from the 20. And Jeff's going to sling one out here to Carter. And then Carter is out of bounds. He's covered there by Sanders with 16 ticks left.
You know, and you come into this game and you know that Dion's got a hamstring problem. Why not go after him?
Flag down. There's a flag down all the way back at the 12, and it's going to come back. It's against Minnesota.
Holding, 73. Offense, 10 yards. Still 1st down.
Well, that's one way to keep him out, Al.
Yes.
He's having a rough night, Todd Stussy is. And he's getting all he can from Kavika Pickman and also from Alonzo Spellman.
Well, Minnesota now has 9 penalties for 67 yards. Clear right there. The Vikings have 63 yards of offense and 67 yards in penalties. 1st and 20 from the 10-yard line. It is knocked away. It is picked off by Izell Reese at the 40 with 7 seconds to play. Charlie Williams batted it. Izell Reese picks it. And for Izell Reese, that is his 3rd interception of the season. And now, well, the way Cunningham is kicking, I don't see them going for a 57-yard field goal, but at least Troy will get 1 heave into the end zone.
Well, you know, they still have 2 timeouts, so if he gets rid of it quickly.
7 seconds.
That's that. You can see right there, the longer you wait to throw the ball down the middle, the better chance there is for a deflection and one of those safeties to come up with an interception. What you want to do is you want to throw that ball about 15 to 18 yards down the field. Any further than that, the ball's in the air too long, no matter how strong your arm is.
And it will be an unlikely heat. Well, let's see. Aikman keeping in a lot of protection and then throws. I guess attempting perhaps to get Cunningham into field goal range from the 50 yards.
But you know what's interesting? He's doing it against Jimmy Hitchcock down here at the bottom when he should be doing it up top against the rookies, because the rookies obviously are going to be off. You know, that's a dangerous throw right there. It's a possibility for an interception, but they're going to give Richie Cunningham another shot at it.
From 57 yards away, Richie has missed from 42, missed from 37, made from 39, and his 2 extra points just barely got inside the left upright. Eric Bjornsson to hold, and
well, the Cowboys.
Timeout. Dallas, second team timeout, 30-second timeout.
Didn't have the right personnel out.
Well, Chad Hennings didn't realize that they were actually going to go out and shoot and go for another field goal, and the down clock was running down.
54 yards, the longest of Cunningham's career. Now Troy's going to come back, and I think, yeah, I can't. For a guy who's having Cunningham's kind of year, I think you're better served taking one shot at the end zone, because the way Richie's kicking these days, who knows? You have a block. Minnesota runs that one back in.
You never know, though.
You kill yourself.
Well, and his extra points have been a little bit of an adventure,
yes,
too.
they have been, yeah. So after the timeout, they'll either just run the clock out or let Troy heave one into the end zone.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is that 29 and 20 are to his right.
86.
And that's where he's going to go with it.
He can't heave that. He fumbles it, and Stepnoski recovers it, and that's the way the half will end here at Minneapolis.
Well, you saw 2 plays by 2 of the inspirational players and leaders on this football team, John Randall at the end and Chris Carter, making plays to try to get their team back into it.
That's the half. Dallas 17, Minnesota 7. Coming up on the Toyota Halftime Show, the top 10. A look at yesterday's NFL action in the Bowl Championship Series standings. When we come back after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station. Amazing year. If the season ended tonight, the Detroit Lions would be the #1 seed in the NFC, and St. Louis would be #2. Toby Goins' kickoff to start the 3rd quarter is fielded at the goal line by Robert Tate, and he can fly, and Tate takes it back out to the 29-yard line. That's where Minnesota sets up shop. We go to Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Denny Green is enormously disappointed in his team right now. He said we didn't tackle on defense. No back has rushed for 100 yards against the Vikings. Emmett had 140. He said we didn't pass protect on offense. Well, as for Emmitt Smith, he has fractured his 4th metacarpal. He is, of course, out for the game. He carries the ball in his left hand, but this is his right hand, but still very serious. No determination yet when he will return.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. As the Cowboys go home and meet Green Bay on Sunday, they have 4 games in 18 days beginning today. At the 29-yard line, it is Carter making the catch, staying in bounds, and they finally get him out of bounds. They are going to mark him out at the 34-yard line. Izell Reese bounced him out.
And it's going to take players like Chris Carter to get the Vikings back into this game. A great straight arm on the sideline to get extra yardage, to get that extra 2 or 3 yards.
By the numbers, let's take a look at Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders was in the game for a total of 28 plays, as you can see. They only threw his way twice, and they have moved him around from the 35-yard line. This is Leroy Horde. And he takes it out to the 42-yard line, and that's a first down. And they begin the second half the way they started the first half, with a good ground game.
Now, that's just a great play by Leroy Horde to get out of there. Alonzo, Spellman, and Ellis and Hennings had an opportunity to get him into the backfield, but he runs away from him. And again, if it's not for the great play, watch Spellman, number 90, come flying through. There's Hennings, number 95, in pursuit. If it's not for Horde making that play, the offensive line, again, misses blocks at the point of attack.
First down at the 42-yard line.
You see Jeff is audibling now because he senses a blitz.
And he gets one. And he throws, and it's caught by Carter, who gets inside Smith, runs around Deion Sanders, chased down by Deion, caught by Deion, flag at the end of the play.
And you're going to have a face mask on Deion Sanders, but as I said, this team can hit you and light you up at a minute's notice, and you've got to be careful. And right there, Jeff George reading the defense, calling a blitz, and hitting Chris Carter against Deion Sanders. Now that is the type of confidence that you expect to see from the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And he's throwing off his back foot. He's got the arm strength to get it there. And this is what you do if you're a receiver. You put the ball away and you run and you make extra yards. And nobody says that you have to be tackled and take it. You just give it, and that's exactly what he does right there to Deion Sanders.
39-yard pickup.
I just love the way Chris Carter plays, how he's physical, he's tough, he's aggressive. He's not taking anything from anybody on that field.
Coming off a fabulous game last week against the Broncos, 8 catches, 144 yards. First down, Minnesota at the 14-yard line. Take it to Williams. George buys time and then throws it away. Moss is double covered.
Well, he got up and he saw that the fact that Moss was double covered, and Ray Sherman and Denny Green both told us that they have never seen a receiver receive so much attention. And it's like people in the NFL are saying, look, 84 is not beating us. Randy Moss, there's no way we're going to let him beat us on deep routes, and they're going to put 2 guys on him. But Jeff has got to go to the other receiver and follow his progression.
Which he did last week. It's a case of Denver said Moss wouldn't beat us, and he did, and Carter beat him. Second down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Ford is whole. Leroy to the 8-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4 with Moss on the bench for the moment. For Dallas, it has been a case when they have lost this year of fast starts and fizzling finishes. And they hope history does not repeat. They had the lead against Philadelphia, let the Eagles hang around. Eagles beat them. Could have beaten the Giants, let them hang around. Tiki Barber beat them. Led at Indianapolis last week. Yep, and the Giant defense.
Man.
Led at Indy last week after 3, and Peyton Manning and company beat them. 3rd and 4 at the 8. George stepping away. Looking, he's going to take it in himself. Can he get there? No, he slides down at the 1-yard line.
I think he's trying to get the first down. He realized it, but you know what he could have done there? He could have lowered his head. And he's telling everybody it's a first down, but if he lowers his head and gets in that end zone, you talk about inspiring your teammates, a la John Elway in the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Izell Reese is hurt. Meanwhile, if it's Cunningham, he does his Edwin Moses routine there.
I mean, it's not an easy thing. He's got 3 Cowboys coming at him, and Izell Reese being one of them. But you can see right here, watch Jeff. Now, he knows that he has the first down. It looks to me like he thinks he can get it and then realizes, you know what? There's no way, especially when Woodson's one of those guys. Well, that's actually Kevin Smith. Okay.
Kevin Smith, and Reese gets hurt on the play, and Reese gets the attention, and that's why there's an injury timeout.
All right, that was smart, actually.
And Reese comes in with an elbow, and Reese is the guy who pays the price. But you can just see Cunningham. We've seen Randall through the years. When he gets down in that position, it's that high hurdle.
He'll jump over people, yeah. You know, and guys know that around the league, so I would think that you would stay up. One of the reasons Jeff George has been around so long, he knows how to protect himself.
He does.
There's no question about that. But now you could just sense 17-7. It's close. The game is so far from over. Excuse me. And with the ability of the wide receivers on this football team and with this guy's arm, they are never out of a game. Never out of a game.
Not with that lineup.
No. Now, if they can get their offensive line to play a little bit better.
Well, I mean, everything's going their way right now. If they can get into the end zone at 17-14, and not only that, the Cowboys don't have Emmitt Smith, who's been a one-man show tonight. Emmitt 140 yards, but the fractured bone in the right hand, as Leslie said, he normally carries the ball in his left hand.
It'll be interesting to see how the Viking defense responds to their halftime adjustments. Coach Fangio screaming, just tackle, just somebody tackle somebody out there.
All right, Dave Campo's defense will have to dig in. Reese comes out. Red McCombs, the Viking owner, and Denny Green, the longest tenured coach in the NFL. Nobody's had his job longer than has Dennis Green, 8 years, which speaks to what a wacky business this is, and Jerry Jones knows all about it. First and goal from the 1. It's Randall McDaniel in the backfield as the fullback. He'll lead the way for Horde, and Horde takes it inside the one, but not in. They line McDaniel up very often in the backfield. Randall McDaniel will go to the Hall of Fame someday. There's no better guard. I mean, here's a guy who just goes to the Pro Bowl every season.
Yeah, he started 10 straight Pro Bowls.
He's just done a wonderful job, and they love to line him up in the backfield and provide some leverage.
Well, there he is with his awkward stance and his unique stance, and not an easy thing. It's almost like he's a pulling guard back there, and I guess they figure that he can get low enough and can get underneath.
Same set, second and goal. Fake this time. Here comes the pressure. It is tipped, and Moss can't make the catch. Nearly picked off. Then Randy got a hand on it. The pressure was put on by the blitzing Darren Hambrick, and it's third down and goal.
Nice play by the defense of the Dallas Cowboys, not being fooled. A hard play action fake. And we talked earlier about Jeff George. He'll throw the ball into places that most quarterbacks won't even attempt because of his arm. And you could see that he has the ability to get enough on it to get it out there, but definitely dangerous.
That was Kavika Pittman, who dropped back into coverage. Meanwhile, the Vikings now have to hurry to the line on a third and goal. A flag is thrown.
Prior to the snap, false start, 63.
Can you believe this? Can you believe also, I'm thinking about this, on second and goal, Kavika Pittman is in the back of the end zone to break up the play.
Well, just remember on this particular play, number 63 is in for McDaniel because he has to come out because he reported on the play earlier, and now he causes a penalty, which isn't probably so bad because it gives him more room in the end zone right now.
Third down and goal, the ball at the 6-yard line, trips right.
Looks like there's 100 guys in the end zone right now for the Dallas Cowboys.
Out of the empty backfield, they sack him. It is Greg Ellis. And so the two ends make huge plays. Pittman bats a pass in the end zone. And then here comes Ellis to sack him, and the Vikings will have to settle for a field goal attempt. And they go from inside the 1 all the way back to the 14.
Watch Ellis just swat Stussy out of the way. I don't know what is going on with Todd Stussy tonight, but he is just absolutely getting lit up now.
32-yard attempt. Mitch Berger will hold it. Gary Anderson to kick it, and the kick is good. 10:29 left in a weird one. Third quarter, 17-10 Dallas. Mike Tice, the offensive line coach, and it's been a rather spirited discussion during the commercial break here.
That's Jeff Christie, number 62, the bald head. He's the center. There's Mike. You realize that Mike Tice, Al, he was the quarterback at Maryland before me, and now he's a line coach in the NFL.
That's right. Meanwhile, the kickoff is taken by Kevin Mathis 2 yards in and brought back to the 22. Tackled there by Chris Walsh, and Dallas will get the ball for the first time in the second half. 10:19 left in the third in the Twin Cities. The Cowboys lead by 7. Record with 99 yards.
What a game between Wisconsin and Purdue. Drew Brees going for it with Ron Dane. That guy is a guy you don't want to miss.
Drew announced that he's going to come back for a senior
Good for him.
today.
Good for him.
From the 22-yard line, Dallas has it for the first time. Chris Warren out of the backfield, and Chris Warren will have to carry the load now with Emmett gone for the night. Up to the 29-yard line. Gain of 7, tackled by Ed McDaniel.
There's Jeff George, and a look of exasperation. He's not having any time back there. In that last series, that last play, a 3-man rush. And as soon as he planted his foot, he got hit. There's no excuse for that. None.
They were inside the 1. Second and goal. We wound up back at the 14. Second down and 3 here for the Cowboys from the 29-yard line. Aikman, quick toss, and then immediately Jason Tucker gets smacked by the rookie Chris Rogers. Rogers, a rookie out of Howard University. And for Troy Aikman tonight, His numbers are not that bad, but his receivers have not been helping him from time to time. Going back to the first period when he had Thomas drop that one, and then he had Rocket drop that one. LaFleur had dropped an earlier one. The errant snap by Stepnoski leading to the Minnesota touchdown. And here he gets tackled by Randall and is lucky he was able to get up. 3rd down and 2, and he gets batted down here by Jerry Bull for the big sack.
You just got to keep on battling. This is what it's like playing quarterback in the NFL. Just stand in there. And really what happened there, it looked like Stepnoski and Aikman they weren't on the same page when it was coming to the snap count. And Stepnoski was brought here to solidify this offensive line and to make sure that it protects Troy. And you can see right here, they're not real good with the snap. I can't imagine why the center would go right and allow the nose tackle to come up free. The only thing that I can think of is that he didn't get help from the guard that he was expecting.
Ball with a free shot. Now Toby Goen almost has that one blocked. They send Moss back. Here's Randy to run it back from the 26-yard line. Taken down there by Dexter Coakley. 8:24 left in the 3rd. The Vikings have clawed their way back in it. Down by 7. The 3rd quarter, Troy Aikman. That's the same look that he had last week when he was knocked down by Burris, and he went to the smelling salts here during commercial.
Well, when big old Jerry Ball is going to fall on you, I think you'd have a little problem getting up yourself, Al.
Absolutely.
They have Jerry Ball listed at 330 pounds. He's probably more like 340.
From the 30-yard line, that is Holden. What a catch by Carter as he got position on Sanders. A 22-yard gain. Almost looked like he caught the back of the ball.
How we showed earlier how Ernie Mills of the Cowboys allowed the defender Hitchcock to get inside of him on a post route, and right here Chris Carter doesn't allow it. And look at the hit he takes from Deion Sanders and still holds on to the football. Everybody talked about Randy Moss versus Deion Sanders. These are 2 all-pros going at it right now, and Chris Carter and Deion Sanders.
From the 47-yard line, Ford bunched up, picks up 3, takes it to the 44. It'll be 2nd and 7 halfway through the 3rd period. Again, a dominant Dallas beginning tonight. The backup quarterback is Jason Garrett as he looks on, and he and Gailey are going over the chart right now, and some pictures of the Minnesota defense, which would indicate that there's a good chance we're going to see Garrett.
He might be. He's licking his fingers. Usually when a quarterback's licking his fingers, that means he's ready to go in.
2nd down and 7. We're going to the Rosenbag from the 44-yard line.
You can see Jeff, he's a little indecisive at the line of scrimmage, trying to audible. Is he going to audible? What's going on here?
Throws on the run. Carter wide open. Took care of Kevin Smith with that in cut. Takes it to the 27 and a 1st down.
And he made the audible. That was the last time he audible to the same play when we saw him go against Deion Sanders. You could tell this guy knows how to ignite this franchise and these fans here, and it just turns Kevin Smith around. I mean, Chris Carter is not the fastest guy in the world out, but what he is, he's so adept at running the routes correctly and creating separation, getting away from the defensive backs.
All of a sudden, Chris has been silent through most of the first half, has 6 catches for 105 yards, 17 there, 1st down. Minnesota at the 27. Ford pulls his way to the 21 and a gain of 6.
Okay, I will go back to the first half when Stepnoski had the false fumble and actually the bad snap, and you could see Chris's numbers right there. And that's where the momentum started to swing a little bit, and you could just feel it building and building and building. It looks like a totally different offense out on the field right now. They're moving it. They had a little trouble the last time when they get down close, but certainly now they sense that they can, they can get the game again back in their hands.
2nd down and 4. Troy with a glazed look. 30 to go. Mo Williams is the running back in this set. They give him the football, and Mo Williams makes the acquaintance of one Randall Godfrey, who was magnificent last week against the Indianapolis Colts. 4th-year middle linebacker out of Georgia. Big play.
When you're a middle linebacker and you see a hole in front of you and you know that that running back has the ball, you have to fill it. You have to fill it quickly, and you have to fill it ferociously, kind of like that. That's the way you play middle linebacker in the hole in the NFL.
3rd down and 5. They stack the receivers, all 3 of them to the left. And they don't send anybody in motion. They send them all out along the tree line, and it is incomplete. Looking for the flag, and Matthew Hatchett doesn't get it. Covered by Charlie Williams. First time they went his way tonight.
Well, you know what happened on that play, Hal? Jeff George looked to the right to go to Randy Moss, and Randy Moss had 2 guys over there, and he realized that he looked the wrong way, and he came back late. And you could see that he got a little nervous because he knew what was going on. He knew that the pass rush was getting close to him, but that was good defense.
Mitch Berger to hold. Gary Anderson, a 41-yard field goal attempt. And that's his 2nd of the game. Minnesota keeps chipping away. They trailed at 1-17-0. Will we see Garrett? It's now 17-13. We will see him. Well, there is Emmitt Smith, and for years they were known as the triplets. Emmitt, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin. Emmitt's gone for the night. Aikman isn't going to play in this next series. There is Michael, so they've gone from 3 to 0. And with 4:40 left in the 3rd, Garrett will come in to quarterback the team. And it's 17-13 as Anderson kicks off, or Berger kicks off for Minnesota. Got decapitated by John Henry Mills.
Now all of a sudden you can see the body language of the Minnesota Vikings. A little spunky right now. Somebody got a tongue lashing at halftime. And now all of a sudden the Cowboys find themselves without Emmitt Smith. They find themselves without Troy Aikman. And take a look at this right here. Oy!
That is a classic clothesline.
The ultimate clothesline right there. Woo, man.
First down, Dallas at the 15-yard line. Regular speed. A look at it here.
Oh.
Jason Garrett comes in to play quarterback. Garrett has a lot of experience. When Aikman broke his collarbone last year, he made 5 starts. He's made 7 lifetime starts, and he's been with the Cowboys since '92. Garrett on first down is going to go deep, and a flag is thrown because it was holding. Kenny Wright had his arms around Ernie Mills, or at least on his jersey, and there'll be interference.
A smart play by the offense of the Dallas Cowboys. Give Chan Gailey credit, because now he knows that the Minnesota Viking defense is going to put these guys out here one-on-one because they figure that the quarterback can't get the ball to him. But you and I have both seen Jason Garrett do the job on the NFL football field. There's no question about that.
Came in and won a Monday night game last year.
Yep. Against Washington.
Garrett went to Princeton. Father is a longtime Cowboys scout. Brother was a wide receiver with the Bengals in '89. Aikman can only look on from the bench. Garrett is actually older than Troy. First and 10 from the 29.
Yeah, they had a down clock malfunction here, Al.
It's a disease you never want to have.
No.
4:26 left in the 3rd.
There's Buddy Guys. He's the quarterback coach right there. You know, interesting. You wonder what it takes to be a backup quarterback in this league. You're always in there. You don't get much opportunity to practice with the starting team. You have to be like ice. I mean, this is like being a reliever in the bottom of the ninth.
Chris Warren goes nowhere. And, of course, now they've got everything going against them. No Aikman, no Smith, no Irvin. Have watched a 17-point lead become a 4-point lead, and the crowd is going bananas. There they are. Those guys have led their team in passing, rushing, and receiving in each of the last 8 years. And no threesome has ever done it longer than that. In fact, the next longest running trio would be Kelly, Thomas, and Reed of Buffalo, 5 years. Meanwhile, Minnesota 105-2 in this quarter. Second down and 10 at the 29-yard line. Garrett going deep for the Rocket, and the Rocket gets position and drops the football. Rocket got inside Hitchcock. Pass a little underthrown, should have hauled it in.
That's 2 for Rocket tonight, and the pass is underthrown. It gives him a better opportunity to come back and make the catch. Hitchcock is not even aware that the ball was in the air, and this is a catch that is another easy catch that he's got to make. See right there, you talk about it, Al. It comes down to a play here, a play there during the game, and all of a sudden your fortunes change. And tonight he's had 2 opportunities to make big plays and hasn't come through.
Dropped them both, and 4 total drops now by the Cowboys. Third down and 10 from the 29. Vikings strung out along the line, put pressure on Garrett, and the pass is high, intended for Ismail again. 4th down.
Well, this certainly wasn't a pretty pass. Not only was it high, but it was wobbling the whole way out there. Pull. Pull.
And then Rocket gets shoved to the turf by Griffith as Moss goes back to return the kick. Toby going to send it down there. Moss, until tonight, had returned 1 punt this season. Randy at the 26. To the 39-yard line goes Moss, and Troy will go back to the locker room. Michael in street clothes, Emmett in street clothes, and the lead in a precarious position. 17-13 Dallas. What a shot. Beautiful shot of Minneapolis downtown. Quite a sight on this sparkling evening. Temperature in the upper 70s today, and that shot provided by Southwest Airlines.
What a beautiful, I mean, it's just absolutely clean. It's beautiful. People here are nice. I kind of just fit in today, Al.
You do.
It's the land of the Vikings up here, man. There's a whole bunch of Norwegians running around, and I'm one of them.
You look like the quintessential Minnesotan. From the 39-yard line, Jeff George on 1st down. Throws to Moss. Makes the catch at the 42. And then getting spun down by Kevin Smith at the 45. 3:07 left in the 3rd quarter.
You know, early on in the first half, if Jeff George would have held that ball, he would have been sacked. Now all of a sudden you see that he has extra time, and again it has to go to the emotion of where the Minnesota Vikings are now.
Red McCombs and Charlene, again, their 49th anniversary tomorrow. Red saying, let's go.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. 2nd down and 4 from the 45-yard line. Here's Horde. And he picks up the 1st down. Red McCombs was telling me before the game he was trying to become an NFL owner for years. He has owned basketball teams. He owned the San Antonio Spurs for 23 years. He owned the Denver Nuggets for 4 years. He's owned minor league baseball teams. And finally, when the Tom Clancy deal went through, the author couldn't buy this team. He went home and he said to his wife, Charlene, he says, I'm buying the Minnesota Vikings. And she said, are you crazy? And he says, no, I'm 70 and I'm going to do it now.
And he got a good deal, really, considering what most teams are going for.
They split Horde wide right, 1st down at the 48-yard line. It is George throwing, and it's caught by Moss, and Randy pulls it in and stays in bounds at the 28-yard line. They rode him out of bounds. Smith and Izell Reese on the coverage.
And here's Jeff George again throwing those balls into places that most quarterbacks won't even attempt because he knows he has a cannon for an arm, and when you have a guy like Randy Moss on the sideline, you can get away with it. Look at this catch right here, Al, and you can see that there's Smith and there's Reese, and he would have come down inbounds with the football, and the officials ruled that they knocked him out of bounds or forced him out of bounds.
1st down at the 27. In the meantime, Leroy Horde is on the bench. They're working on his foot or leg. The ball at the 27-yard line. So Mo Williams is in the backfield. George off his back foot throws. It's tipped and it's incomplete. Intended for Jake Reed. It's the first time they've gone to Reed tonight. Kevin Smith covering on the play.
Now, just watching Jeff George and watching him fall backwards and throw the football 40 yards down the field, it's remarkable. And Jake Reed should have made this play. Kevin Smith never saw the ball. He actually got his left hand in there to knock it out, but you can see right there what a nice lucky play by Kevin Smith. Just get the ball out of their hands any way you can, and that's what he did.
Ford comes back in the game. 2nd down and 10. The ball to the 27-yard line. George guns it over the middle. Picked off at the 1-yard line by George Teague. Back past the 20. Run out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Huge play. Flag. Coming in, and it was picked up, but there's an officials conference right now, and there will be a flag.
Oh.
And it is against the Cowboys. The flag is down at the 15-yard line. Illegal contact.
That's going to be on Deion Sanders.
Contact on the defense, number 21. 5 yards, automatic first down.
Before the interception, so he made contact downfield. Sanders picks the flag up.
You know, I know what he's arguing about. He's arguing, saying, take a look at this on the top of your screen. You could see. Watch how Randy Moss actually just kind of runs into him. Deion establishes his. That's a tough call right there. You know, you're not supposed to touch the guy past 5 yards, but certainly if your feet are planted and you establish your spot.
Like basketball.
Right.
Charging or blocking. First down at the 22-yard line. Moss. It's by Sanders. Skirts the sideline. First down. Darren Hambrick runs him out of bounds. Now they're going to say he stepped out back at the 14-yard line, and it won't be a first. Gain of 8. 2nd and 2. A minute to go in the period.
You got to love Deion, though, and you got to love the fact that the Vikings are not backing down from him. And 1 minute it's Chris Carter, and now it's Randy Moss, and this is what everybody here came to see. These two guys going at each other.
Good call. He was on the line. 2nd down, 2. Ball at the 14-yard line. Carter, the only guy split in this set, wide right. On the ground, Leroy Hill cuts it back inside the 10. First and goal for the Vikings coming up. The camera's shooting him from the reverse angle. He's pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, all right.
Red may be 70 or 72.
He's having some fun, though, man.
He feels like he's 20. End of the period. Crowd going wild. Vikes back in it, threatening to take the lead. 17-13 Dallas into 3. Monday Night Football returns from Minneapolis after this from our ABC station. Boomer, where was Mary Tyler Moore's apartment?
I think right here.
You think so? I'm going to call Grant Tinker because he'd remember. As you look at downtown Minneapolis. We start the 4th quarter. Dallas leading Minnesota 17-13. First and goal for the Vikings from the 9-yard line. Ford to the 4-yard line, so he gets halfway home.
Now remember, the last time that the Vikings were down here in the first half when they scored a touchdown, they like to throw the ball high towards the back of the end zone to get it over the shorter defensive backs and allow their big wide receivers to go up and make a play on it. And you could see that the Cowboys are definitely concerned about that with the amount of people that they have in the secondary. It looks like 100 guys in the end zone right now.
The way they're strung out, 2nd down and goal, so to speak. 2nd and goal at the 4. This is Ford. and he gets hoarded at the 4-yard line.
So what do the Vikings do? They sense that also, so they think that they can run because there aren't that many guys in that run area, that defensive run area. And there is Emmitt Smith with the broken right hand. Maybe I jinxed him at the beginning of the game.
Well, of all things, to have it happen on a touchdown run in such a freak way, a guy who had 140 yards on 13 carries tonight.
One of the big problems that the Vikings have, Al, is that they can't get the plays in. For some reason, they're having a hard time communicating and have to waste timeouts the second time tonight.
Yep, to the consternation of one Dennis Green. Timeout, Vikings, as they try to move into the lead.
Minnesota Viking offense, and this has kind of been characteristic all year long. When you're down here and you know what down situation you're in, you usually have a play that you can go to right away, and there should be no confusion.
They had a waste of timeout. Now let's see if they can get it in. 3rd down and goal from the 4. George, whoa, the fireworks go off. It's caught by Carter. Unbelievable. Scared the hell out of everybody in the building. The fireworks go off before Carter makes the catch. That may be the most amazing touchdown catch in history.
Al, you jumped up about 5 minutes.
The whole building did.
That was unbelievable.
The guy who ignites the display, the fireworks display, shot him off right about here. And the point after is good. Unreal. 13:38.
Are you all right?
I'm not sure.
Okay?
That is the ultimate premature celebration, but they have the lead. We're going to play this in real speed right now and listen for the fireworks, the cannon shots. Here it is.
That pass was too short to be a bomb.
Unbelievable. How Carter maintained the concentration. I mean, everybody in the building jumped.
Including yourself.
You betcha. 20-17 is the score. Mathis now runs it back for Dallas. And gets taken down at the 23-yard line by Chris Rogers. So a 17-0 Dallas lead is now a 20-17 deficit. Take a look at this reaction.
By Chris Carter, who really, when you get down into that part of the field, defenses are going to create a picket fence. He gets behind that picket fence, but watch right here. Look at this guy right here. Look, what is that? Yeah. What is going on?
Carter's 107th career touchdown catch. Decibel level up in 3 figures. First down from the 23. Warren tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Kylie Wong.
Well, whoever gave the Newt Rockne speech at halftime for the Minnesota Vikings certainly deserves a lot of credit, because this is obviously a different football team, Al, and you could see now that the tackles are being made behind the line of scrimmage, and they just look different. They look more excited. They look like they're angry, that they want it. They sense now that the game is theirs.
Embarrassment for most of the first half. Injury timeout. That's Jimmy Hitchcock on the AstroTurf. Hitchcock okay, comes off under his own power. After the game, a reminder, tune into ESPN's Sports Center Monday Night Football postgame show with live reports and analysis. Now you've got Chris Rogers in the game and Kenny Wright in the game. So you have 2 rookie corners in the game. It is 2nd down and 12 from the 21-yard line. A tale of 2 halves. Garrett's going to take off, and the Princetonian takes it up to the 30-yard line.
And
it'll be 3rd down and 3. Let's go to Leslie Visser. Les?
Al, just for an update on Troy Aikman, he is in the locker undergoing observation. This is his 6th concussion as a Cowboy. This one is mild, which according to a new grading system is confusion, inability to focus. Well, unlike Deion Sanders a couple of weeks who put himself back in the game after suffering a concussion, that will not happen with Troy. Dr. Robert Van
you, Leslie. And Deion Sanders with a hamstring and the after effects of the toe. The triplets are all gone tonight. The lead is gone. It's 3rd down and 3 as Garrett throws and it's tipped, and Hitchcock picks it off at the 37-yard line, and Garrett watches that one get intercepted, and Flozell Adams is in agony, the left tackle.
Interesting how I didn't see where Adams took the shot. It looks like it's right around the waistline, and it came after the play, it looked like.
Irvin coming part of the way out onto the field to try to get a closer look, and they wave him away as the medical staff works on Adams. John Randall was locked up with him, and let's see what happens at the end of the play here. It might have been Dwayne Clemens, number 92, who comes in. He's on the ground.
He's
92.
right here. Let's take a look at this and see what happens. Oh, I mean, what is that?
Well, we know what that is.
Well, I mean, but we both know what it is, but totally inexcusable.
And he got away with it, too.
He sure did get away with it. Well, the game's rough enough as it is, and certainly those guys battle probably harder than anybody on the field, linemen and defensive linemen, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and to do something like that and to walk off the field and feel obviously good about it, which I can't imagine that Dwayne Clemens does. And take a look at the play clock here. You have to wonder if this play actually got off in time, and certainly it didn't, according to our replay there. Be interesting. Could Dallas challenge on that, Al?
They can with the play clock.
That'd be an interesting thing right now. Why would
Jerry Jones with a somewhat forlorn look? Adams goes out.
Well, they're not going to challenge.
They're not going to do it. Minnesota's going to take over the 37 after the Hitchcock interception. So Clemens got away with it, at least until Gene Washington gets into his pocket in charge of the fines, and this is Leroy Horde to the 35-yard line.
And the one thing I will tell you is that Gene Washington and the league won't stand for stuff like that. It's bad enough if you lead with your helmet and there's no attempt to injure if you're actually trying to tackle with your helmet. But certainly in that instance, what Clemens did there will be a significant fine, I guarantee.
Absolutely.
You don't know what precipitated it. You don't know why he reacted that way, certainly. But all we saw was what he did.
2nd down and 7 for the Minnesota Vikings at the 34. By the way, that is not challengeable with the play clock. 2nd down and 7 at the 34-yard line.
No.
Everybody comes. Jailbreak blitz, and it's caught by Andrew Glover, and he's out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Run out by Dexter Coakley. It'll be 3rd down and about 6.
A nice play by Jeff George that time. Doesn't seem like much because he didn't get much on the completion, but certainly he read the blitz. He saw it coming, and he went right to his hot receiver, delivered the ball accurately, and he took a wicked shot after he had gotten rid of the football. So obviously Jeff George has settled in nicely in the second half, and he looks like a different player, probably because the guys in front of him are playing a little bit better.
3rd and 5 now, under 11 minutes to go. Minnesota up by 3, having erased a 17-point deficit. And another timeout. That's 2.
Well, this is what happens when the plays take a while to get in. He wants to audible at the line of scrimmage. He walks up there kind of slowly, and you got to dump a timeout.
And they're down to just 1. Yesterday, Keyshawn Johnson and company next Monday night. After the timeout, 3rd down and 5 for the Minnesota Vikings at the 32-yard line. And Jeff George throws, and it's juggled and not caught. Incomplete. 4th down. Jake Reed can't hold it.
Threw it a little bit too far outside, and the reason he did is because number 52, Dexter Coakley, ran out underneath Jake Reed, and it just shows you how fast the linebackers are. You could see Jake Reed looks open from this shot, but there comes Coakley into the shot, and it forces Jeff George to throw the ball outside.
And now the Vikings will eschew the opportunity to kick a 50-yard field goal, and instead Berger comes in to punt. And the play clock's all the way down to 1. But that barely matters here, because if they're going to punt, it doesn't matter if they're kicking from the 32 or the 37, really. In fact, Dallas may decline it, which they do.
I think what they're trying to force Berger to do here now is line drive one, and if they can get one where he kind of shanks it a little bit, maybe Deion Sanders has a chance. The likelihood of Deion returning this punt remote, just because of the distance between him and the guys that are running down the field right now.
Berger will accept the snap at the 47-yard line.
No chance.
Floater. It goes into the end zone. That's a little harsh. Booing like, I mean, you know, enough already. Your team has come from 17 down. Give him a break.
High expectations here, Alan. Minnesota.
Yes, everywhere. What else is new? This is what we're reduced to. We can't afford CDs anymore. We're just taking off the PA. 10:28 remaining in the 4th. The Dallas Cowboys have it at their own 20-yard line. Never know when there's some ambient noise in the Metrodome.
I didn't know you like CDs, Al.
Yes, I do.
Well, now I know what to get you for Christmas.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's coming up.
Do you have a particular favorite?
Oh, I've got a few.
Okay.
OMC's pretty good.
OMC.
Kind of a metaphor for our lives. How bizarre.
It kind of, yeah.
Cowboys at their own 20, 1st and 10, 10:28 left in regulation. Minnesota having erased a 17-0 deficit. And now Jason Garrett with a toss back to Chris Warren. And Warren with a burst upfield. And Warren breaking tackles. A 24-yard gain to the 44. Ran out of the grasp of Robert Griffith.
I was just going to say, what a great series by the Dallas defense. Minnesota on the other side of the 50, getting close to the red zone against the Dallas defense. They hold them, they stop them, they force them to punt. And here we go again. Where's the tackling for the defense of the Minnesota Vikings? You can see everybody just kind of overruns the play, and a good running back has good vision. He can see, he can make the cutbacks, and certainly Chris Warren is able to do that.
Flozell Adams is in the game at left tackle. After needing the attention after the punch by Clemens on the last series. 1st down at the 44-yard line. Garrett pressured, sacked. Tony Williams.
And Tony Williams does it to Larry Allen. He actually runs right inside and beats him inside, and
flag down. It would have been, or might be, we'll see depending on the call here, the 5th sack of the season. We have a personal foul against Dallas this time.
You got to wonder what this is all about, if it's Flozell Adams or somebody responding to the last time they were on the field. And
penalty's going to be against Eric Williams.
Personal foul on the offense. Number 79, blown to the head, 15 yards, and repeat first down.
Take a look at the left side of your screen right here, number 79. Here he is, right here. Let's take a look here. Well, you know what this is? This is basically retaliation. We don't really know what's been going on down on the field, but the one thing that I can tell you, this guy right here, John Randall, Clemens, Williams, also Chris Dolman. I mean, this is a nasty group of players, and they've been getting at it and getting after it. And I'm sure that it has something to do with the halftime talk that Foge Fazio gave this defensive line to pick up their intensity. Didn't mean to throw punches and stuff like that, but certainly they have lifted their aggressive level of play.
And he gets caught, and it's a big penalty. It's a 15-yarder, one of the few 15-yarders remaining in the rule book. And this is Rocket on an end around, and Rocket gets spilled at the 30-yard line after a minimal pickup. It'll be second down and 24. Reminder, ESPN.com, NFL.com. That's the spot to be on your computer for enhanced TV coverage of tonight's game. Carter and Moss. And Reed. Not a bad trio right there, Al. Jeff George made the right decision coming here to play with those three. Second down and 23. Up at the 31-yard line. Garrett out of the shotgun. Nope. That's incomplete. Intended for Jeff Ogden. He's covered by Jimmy Hitchcock. All of a sudden the field now has shrunk on the Dallas Cowboys offense. They're trying to work things within that 5 to 10-yard range. The Minnesota Vikings defenders are just sitting on the ball right now. Sooner or later you're going to have to try to get one up top, over top of these guys. They're actually covering for Rodgers, the rookie down here at the bottom, by putting a safety over top of him. So anytime Rocket comes down here one-on-one, you would try to get that matchup. You're not getting it because of the way that they are defending him. Garrett trying to turn those baby blues into Steely blues here. He's 0 for 4 with a pick. Third down and 23. Going deep, almost picked off at midfield. Jimmy Hitchcock had it and dropped it. Fourth down. Well, the personal foul put him in a hole. And they're forced to punt with 8:21 remaining in regulation. I can imagine what both sides are saying on the sidelines to their defensive and offensive lines, and Hitchcock should have had that. That was a gimme. But it's getting nasty, and certainly when you start seeing guys reacting by throwing punches and fists, you can just imagine what's being said down there. And certainly they're in each other's face, and it's creating some tense moments on the field. Toby Goins kick. Randy Moss back to get it at the 21-yard line. And Randy with the short side of the field and trips and falls. Otherwise, he might have broken it. You know, but plays like that are what keep the game close. They do. You know, and it's just, he had an opportunity to take it a full length. He falls down. Now all of a sudden, the Dallas defense has an opportunity to keep the game close. Some athletes have that special ability, Al, and certainly this guy is one of them. Not very many players in the league that have the ability of a Randy Moss, a Deion Sanders, and probably the greatest athlete of all, a Michael Jordan, to be able to combine the great athleticism with the want-to and the heart and the passion. 48-yard kick and a 25-yard run back, and now Minnesota at the 46-yard line. And George throws to Moss. And he's out of bounds in Dallas territory at the 49-yard line. Charlie Williams with the coverage. If the Vikings hold on and win the game, they go to 5-4. Detroit leads the division at 6-2. The Vikings would be in second place. Green Bay is 4-4. Meanwhile, a Dallas loss, and they are a game back of the Giants and a game back of Washington. Another storm to be weathered by Chan Gailey right now, losing his big three. And he told us last night he's just got to keep the guys together and realize that coaching the Dallas Cowboys is just a huge task to keep these guys from reading all the negative stuff that they've read the last few weeks. 2nd and 5, and it's Chris Carter making the catch. Picks up a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 3. at the 47.
But you look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule, the last 4 games, Philadelphia, the New York Jets, and New Orleans, and then at home against the Giants. All 4 winnable games for the Dallas Cowboys. So they just have to keep their spirits up, and it's up to him, Chan Gailey, to be able to do that. And continue to make these guys believe that they still have a shot at this.
Well, you know, we'll get Emmett back. Irvin's another story. Michael will probably make a decision in 3 or 4 weeks. 3rd down and 4 from the 48. Dallas sends everybody, and the catch is made, and it's a first down. Carter, knowing exactly where he was, exactly how far he had to go for the first down, and salutes himself with a red Cashin move. Charlie Williams with the coverage.
Good play call that time by Ray Sherman, moving his quarterback out of the pocket, getting away from the blitz. And Charlie Williams just playing too far off of Chris Carter, knowing that if you're blitzing and you're a defensive back, don't give that much room, because the quarterback's going to have to make a quick decision. He's going to have to get rid of it, because he too knows that the blitz is coming as well.
6:10 to go, first down at the 42-yard line. George and the Vikings can begin to work the clock now as Leroy Ford takes the ball inside the 40-yard line. Jeff George in the first half. You could have benched a guy with a half like that. 37.3 rating, but in the second half, a whole other story. There it is in another form.
The second half has been filled with good, solid plays too. Reading blitzes. There's Randall Cunningham on the sideline. Reading blitzes, getting rid of the football. Standing next to number 12, Dante Culpepper. He was their first-round draft choice, one of the heralded quarterbacks that came out in this rookie class this year.
Dante with his helmet on, looking for action. 2nd down and 6. George under pressure, throws, and it is incomplete, and the Cowboys are going to contend. He was between the tight ends, and there's nobody there, and some of the Cowboy defenders, as George comes up limping, are going to contend that it was grounding. In fact, Hambrick is saying, who was the receiver?
Well, Jim Kleinsasser, their rookie.
Now they throw the flag, and they're right, because he wasn't outside what's referred to as the tackle box or tight end box.
But you know, I don't know, Al. The rookie tight end Jim Kleinsasser was actually on the sideline over there. Jeff just didn't have enough time or enough strength to get it to him, but he was throwing it into his direction, and there he is. You could see that that's Kleinsasser right there behind his coach, and he's telling, hey, like, I was there. Take a look at this right here. Watch Jeff roll a little bit to his left. Then he comes back to his right. Now he throws it, and there's Kleinsasser right there at the top of the screen. It's a tough call right there. That's lobbying. That's intense lobbying. Now that goes on in Washington, doesn't it?
I thought Kleinsasser was in Eden Prairie, frankly. I think they made the right call. They got together and talked to each other, did the officials, 3 of them anyway.
That was some heavy-duty lobbying. That's all I can tell you.
So the penalty moves the ball back to the 47. It is 3rd down and 15. George hobbling out of the shotgun. Going deep, going for Moss sooner or later. Touchdown.
Many quarterbacks can roll to their left and throw back to the right. It's a design play because of the arm strength of Jeff George. Charlie Williams outmatched by Randy Moss. Remember, Kevin Smith is on the sideline with a bruised knee. And you saw in that series that they continue to throw to the right side to work against Charlie Williams. And when you get that matchup right there and you have the explosiveness of the Jeff George arm, you take advantage of it, and that's exactly what they did.
Anderson tacks on Minnesota's 27th consecutive point.
You could see Jeff George, where was this emotion in the first half? If this team could ever put it together.
If you watched the first part of the game and it was 17-0 and went to dinner and just got back, have we got a story for you?
Absolutely. Here's Fred McCombs. (27-17) Minnesota. I can't even begin to tell you how difficult a throw that is. To be able to reset yourself knowing that that's where you're going. Most times quarterbacks will drop back in the pocket straight and will throw the ball down the sideline figuring that's the matchup you want. But when you move to your left, you'll move the safety with you, and it creates an enormous advantage for that wide receiver that he doesn't have to worry about anybody.
Mitch Berger to kick off, 27-17. And this is Kevin Mathis bringing it back from the 3-yard line. Back out to the 30-yard line. With 5:01 remaining. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the people inspired to build vehicles for your mind and heart. Nissan driven. Nortel Networks. We're building the new high-performance internet. MGM Pictures. Bond is back. The world is not enough. And Daytech Online. The rules of online trading are changing. When it comes to change, rarely have you seen a game like this, where Dallas was so unbelievably dominant through the first 23 or 24 minutes. A key turnover. Vikings were able to cut it to a 10-point deficit at the half, and the second half is all Minnesota, and that's almost picked off. And it caught. It's caught by Ogden after Kenny Wright thought he had the interception.
And the official rules that Ogden, I think his butt was on the out-of-bounds strike.
It was. Posterior. Derriere.
But the thing about it is, Al, this is reminiscent of last week's game against the Indianapolis Colts for the Dallas Cowboys. Troy Aikman gets banged out. He gets taken out of the game. Jason Garrett has to come in and play. The momentum shift has been just monumental here, and it's something that Chan Gailey's going to have to work on. He's going to have to figure out a way, even with injuries in mind, to keep this team focused for the second half.
2nd and 10. Garrett is 0 for 6 with 1 interception. And that's incomplete. 0 for 7 intended that time for Jeff Ogden. Well, for the triplets, at this particular point in time, you go back to Michael Irvin and the very scary scene in Philadelphia. You lay a nerd on the Veterans Stadium AstroTurf. Hasn't played since. Emmitt Smith tonight, a spectacular night, and a fractured hand. And then Troy Aikman goes down in the grasp of Jerry Ball, and he suffers what is described as a mild concussion. 3rd down and 10. Garrett seeking refuge and finally finds it well shy of the first down.
Al, Troy Aikman took a shot to the head last week from Burris, the defensive back of the Indianapolis Colts. It was against a blitz. He didn't see it, and he basically paid the price for it. Now tonight he took a shot from Jerry Ball, who came right up the middle. You know, and that's, again, it's an inexcusable mistake on the behalf of the offensive line, either between Stepnoski, Larry Allen, and Everett McIver. Those three guys inside have to protect those gaps, and there's no reason why a nose tackle should be able to get back in the backfield, especially the size of Jerry Ball, that quickly.
Free shot, knocked them out of the game. Toby going to punt. Randy Moss from the 16-yard line. And he brings it back out to the 33-yard line with 4.5 minutes to go. You know, all those people who were lined up to call talk radio tomorrow morning, they hung up.
Well, I think it all goes back to the bad snap at the end of the first half. They gave the Vikings life. They gave them a chance to get a touchdown on the board, make them go into the locker room saying, hey, you know, we played our worst half of football probably in the last 2 to 3 years, maybe.
Right. Can't play a worse half.
And then all of a sudden, 27 unanswered points by the Minnesota Vikings. And I mean, in a spectacular fashion, too, when you think about it. Long bombs, receivers getting involved. Chris Carter igniting, trying at the end of the first half to get his team inspired, and certainly I think they've responded.
Now the Vikings can play clock ball from the 33-yard line, and they give it to Leroy Horde. And he's up to the 40-yard line. And to think about the Vikings tonight, how horrible they look. And Robert Smith is out, and the crowd booing like crazy, and Dallas looking like they'll rout the Vikings. Now all of a sudden you're back. You're up 27-17. You look like you're going to win the game. Dallas takes a timeout. You look like you're going to go 5-4 with a 3-game winning streak, and you might get that guy back next week. Robert Smith talking to me before the game. I said, when are you ready? He said, I'll play next week if they'll let me. He said, I feel good.
And Denny Green said this guy is the catalyst of the offense. Certainly Jeff George deserves a lot of credit for getting this team back on the winning track. But if they can get a healthy Robert Smith, not that Leroy Horde has done anything bad. It's just that there are certain backs in this league that are younger, that are a little bit more fast, and certainly are special. And that's what Robert Smith is.
Chris Carter during this timeout. Here's Chris on Randy Moss.
He's doing well. I think the learning curve is a little smaller this year. He knows far more than he knew last year. Now, the thing is, if he can remain patient, that's what you have to do week in and week out, and realize that no one's going to give you anything.
He's right. He's absolutely right, and that's why Denny Green likes the veterans.
Chris here to help grow Moss. This is Williams taking it up to the 42-yard line.
And now you look at the Minnesota Vikings schedule from here. They go to Chicago next week, who had a big win yesterday in Green Bay. And a lot of credit goes to Brian Robinson, who blocked Ryan Longwell's potential game-winning field goal. And at the end of the game, he said, look, I can't jump. So Walter Payton must have been there to help me jump to block that field goal.
Amazing. Timeout again called by Dallas. Randy Moss, as you can see, the only guy in the history of the league to reach those levels across the board in his rookie season. You recall the story, and it's a funny thing too, because had the Cowboys not taken so many hits to their image when it came time for them to pick last year, I mean, we all knew about Randy Moss and what a big question mark he was because of his off the field travails. And team after team, including the Cowboys, just had to pass on him. And then Minnesota said, we'll take a chance. And so far, so good.
And just remember that Dallas passed on him, but they took Greg Ellis, the defensive end from North Carolina, who they are really happy with.
And on 3rd and 1, they're able to stop. And there is Greg Ellis.
He is right there.
Stopping Horde and keeping Dallas in the game. Timeout Dallas. So they've had to use all of their timeouts here with 4:04 to go, but it's the only way they can stay in the game, force a punt, and then of course try an onside kick, and they can stop the clock one more time at the 2-minute warning.
Now, we were talking yesterday how teams kind of draft the same way every year. The Green Bay Packers, for instance, drafting defensive backs, trying to get their backfield better. The Dallas Cowboys have been drafting defensive linemen in the first round for as long as I can remember. And really, they are so happy with Ellis. He's already had 2 sacks against Washington. He's had an 87-yard interception return against Atlanta in a Monday night game. He had a 98-yard fumble return versus Arizona. They also took Ebenezer Ekubon this year, another defensive lineman out of North Carolina with their first pick. So, hey, this guy has done nothing. Greg Ellis has done nothing but support the fact that they took him number 1.
So Ellis makes the last play. Berger to punt. Jeff Ogden back to receive for the Cowboys. Ogden from the 19-yard line back to the 25-yard line. Dallas down by 10, has to go 75 yards and then get a field goal or do it in reverse without a timeout.
Here's Jerry Jones. And Al, as I was talking about the Minnesota Vikings remaining schedule, they go to Chicago, come home to play the San Diego Chargers, then at Tampa, at Kansas City, Green Bay at home, at the Giants, and then the Lions at home. They have a tough road ahead.
We'll see him twice more on Monday night at Tampa and then the Green Bay game here in December. 1st and 10. Garrett seeking his first completion. He's 0 for 7. A little dump off, so he gets the completion, but not for much, as Chris Warren is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Jimmy Hitchcock with the coverage. So the Cowboys, after that loss of 1, in danger right now of dropping their 4th game of the season. All of them will have come on the road. All of them will have come in games in which they had the lead.
And the last 2 in which they really had control of the game.
Meanwhile, Emmitt Smith tonight putting his name in the record book. Fastest 2 touchdowns by any NFL player since 1970, and maybe before, as a little shovel to Ismail, and that's next to nothing. The scoreboard clock actually became official in the NFL in 1970, so that's why we can only say since 1970 it's the fastest 2 touchdowns. I mean, conceivably it went on well before then, but we don't have the records to verify it. Here they were, Emmitt with a 63-yard scamper, fending off the rookie right at the end, and then on this play where he winds up fracturing his hand, small bone in his hand, on that touchdown, a 24-yard run on back-to-back runs, but that ended his night. Now Garrett almost had the ball knocked out of his hand, hits Warren, and Warren is bumped out of bounds, but short of the first down with 3:03 to play.
Defensive lineman like Chris Coleman love this type of situation, and he's a smart player. Look, he's going to knock the ball out. Garrett does really a pretty good job of just holding on to the football.
4th down, they have to go for it with no timeouts. 4th and 6, the ball at the 29-yard line. Dallas's last chance to stay in the game right here. And they don't. A happy 49th anniversary to the McCombs.
Yeah, it is, and Jason Garrett hasn't really even looked downfield, maybe but once or twice. And you know, again, I go back to the end of that first half, Al, and the bad snap by Stepnoski. It gave the Vikings a chance to get back in the football game. And we talked at halftime about, you know, would he bench Jeff George? Wouldn't he bench? You know, this team is just too loaded to hold down for too long. And the Cowboys gave a valiant effort, especially after losing Troy and Emmitt. And their defense held up as best, I think, as they could. If they would have had any help from the offense in the second half, this could have been a much tighter game than it's turned out to be.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Ford. And he has the presence of mind to not run out of bounds and keep that clock going. Tackled by Ecubon. Meanwhile, for Dennis Green, I mean, just think about it for a second. 1992, he gets the job. He's in his 8th season. No coach. None of the 31 has had his job in the NFL longer than Dennis Green. Bill Cowher was hired by Pittsburgh 11 days later. Boomer, do you know who number 3 is? I mean, think about this for a second.
All right, I'll think about it.
Green is first in tenure. Cowher is second.
Now with the same team.
Yeah, with the same team.
With the same team. So that would take Holmgren out, right? Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so with the same team.
Same team. Parcells is out. I mean, guys have coached longer with different teams. 2nd down and 4. This is Mo Williams. And he picks up a first down, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. So you want to be a millionaire?
Hang on. You know, can I call home? And
no, you can't. And you better do it before the commercial.
How about one of these fans out here? Can I ask one of them?
No can do. You can't be a millionaire.
Come on, I could do it.
Norv Turner.
Yes, okay.
Well, they would have taken 39.6% anyway. Who cares? 2-minute warning. Two minutes to go. A crowd that spent most of the first half booing,
and they end up, going home happy.
booing and angry and what a wonderful world.
Well, you know, that's the thing about this league. The only thing I can tell you is that you battle all year long, and Chan Gelly and Dennis Green have had to do both of their best imitations of psychologists, and they got to keep these guys up. They got to keep them focused and realize that, again, with the Cowboys especially, with the way that their schedule was weighted towards the end of the season for them to have all those home games. 3 out of the last 4 games are at home. Philly, the Jets, and the Giants. They still, you know, they get back Leon Lett. Somewhere along the line, they should get Michael Irvin back.
Right.
Emmett Smith.
Well, they hope they get him back.
Right.
They'll run the clock out here with a couple of kneel downs. We're also, Emmett Smith apparently feels that he may have fractured the hand on the first touchdown. There was a stiff arm here. The face mask on that play right there, where he gets into Kenny Wright's face mask, that was the first touchdown, and then it might have been exacerbated on the next run, where his right hand comes into play with some contact as well.
I wonder if he got his finger stuck in the face mask.
Could be. Could be, but there's a man who had a record-breaking night going. I mean, he was ahead of Walter Payton's single game pace. He had 140 yards with a few minutes left in the first half. And the next thing you know, he goes home with a cast. Aikman goes home with a concussion. Irvin goes home with his future in doubt. The Cowboys go home with another loss. The Vikings have a 3rd straight win. And we go to Foxborough, where we'll see the Patriots next Monday night. Drew Bledsoe, Terry Glenn and company.
And again, I go back to the fact that Drew Bledsoe, not too much has been written or said about the New England Patriots. I think most of the attention has been paid to teams like St. Louis and also Detroit. And rightfully so.
And this will end the game right here. Leon Lett can begin to practice. A few years ago, Michael Irvin was suspended. Somebody said, when can Michael begin to practice again? And Barry Switzer said, as soon as Al Michaels says Malibu Kelly Hayes thanks him for his spotting, which I've just done. So now Leon can begin to practice. That's about the only good news for the Cowboys right now. He is Chan Gailey, whose evening started quite gaily with a 17-0 lead.
And he came out firing tonight. He was not conservative early on, but injuries, you lose your quarterback, things change. Improvise and adjust and do the best you can, and you try to hold on. And there go those bombs again.
Oh, yeah.
What is...
Isn't this my favorite moment? 27-17. In a moment, back with the play of the game. Tonight took the lead on a Chris Carter touchdown catch. This is the CNET.com play of the game with real audio in real time, and listen for the cannon. Carter maintaining his concentration. The Cowboys turned out to be nothing but cannon fodder in the second half tonight for the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff George did not complete a single pass tonight until there were 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. But at the end, he stands in glory, and he's with Leslie.
Al, 3 straight wins since he took over as the starter. Jeff George, 3 spectacular touchdowns tonight. First, we just ran it. Did you know about those fireworks going off?
No, we didn't. That was a shocker, and it's you know, Chris had great concentration and you know, just made a great catch. So you know, this is a huge win for us.
It was. What went on at halftime? Afterwards, you scored 20 unanswered points.
Well, you know, we just came out flat for whatever reason. We weren't playing our style of football, and you know, Denny went in there and said, "Hey, you guys got to get it together. We got a whole second half," and defense has kept us in the whole game, and we just had to come out and make plays. So you know, we knew we were a much better team, but you have to give them credit. They came out and put us to us the first half, and then we just came out the second half and played our game.
What does this mean to you? You've had a tumultuous 10-year career. Are you finally in a place where you can showcase your skills?
I feel good. You know, this is a great offense for me. It's the vertical game, and you know, I got some studs to throw to. So the guys up front protect me. It makes my job really easy. But it's exciting. It feels good to be back out here, and to be back on Monday night, it feels great.
It's a wonderful win. Maybe all quarterbacks will start throwing off their back foot.
Well, maybe. You know, whatever works. You know, I just go out there and you know, do what you can and to help team win, and it feels really good.
Great. Congratulations to you, Jeff. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. So the Minnesota Vikings come from behind, beat the Dallas Cowboys 27-17, and we move to Foxborough next week. The New York Jets will take on the New England Patriots. Until then, this is Al Michaels for Boomer Esiason and Leslie Visser saying good night from Minneapolis. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Now stay tuned to ABC for your late local news or other programming. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.
ABC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.